This is Borders Rugby Special on Borders Rugby Radio with Stuart Cameron.
Well, hello, welcome to the Green Yards for this week's Borders Rugby Special, and a Happy New Year to you all. Great to have League Rugby back again after a 4-week break due to holidays and the weather. And the good news is that we have a packed fixture card this afternoon, including not one but two commentary matches. We're here for the big third versus second clash in National 1 between Melrose and AYR. That kicks off at 3 o'clock. And the reason we're on air half an hour earlier than usual is that there are plenty of 2 o'clock kickoffs today, including a big game at Goldenacre between two teams trying to avoid relegation. Heriots are in 9th place and they take on JEDFOREST, who are 8th. A huge game for both teams, and we'll cross over shortly to our commentary team in Edinburgh. That's Sam Mathews and Robin Purdie. But let's bring in one half of our commentary team here in Melrose, Dale Clancy, who'll be joined later by Bruce Millar. And well, Dale, the sun is shining, it's looking great.
Yeah, you wouldn't think a couple of weeks ago that there was a whole host of fixtures getting called off for frost because the sun is shining on this Green Yards pitch, and this is a great, two really good teams in Scottish rugby, and it's a great way to start the year.
And great to have a full programme of league fixtures, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I think it's difficult with the fixture congestion that we get in Scotland due to the weather, and obviously impacting on the Sevens circuit as well. But there's nothing better than a nice dry-ish day. The sun's shining. It's a little bit windy here, but I think the guys will all be champing at the bit to get back on the field and play some rugby.
And we're at the business end now for club rugby in Scotland, and this month is where we see some clubs on the brink of something special, others trying to avoid the drop. And of course, with the 10-team reconstruction of the leagues taking place next season, there's going to be an awful lot of nervous players and coaches.
Yeah, and I think today, the way that the fixtures lie, I think today's fixtures are going to have a big ramifications on where people are going to be playing their rugby next year. You look at this game, we've got third versus second, there's only a few points in it, and Kelso are the team at the top, so AYR can ill afford to lose, and Melrose as well can ill afford to lose. But even in the Premiership as well, there's a lot of interesting fixtures that are going to have a huge impact on the season.
So 1 down from the Premiership, 3 down from National 1, 5 down from National League 2. We keep going over that fact, but that is going to be impacting on a lot of clubs.
1, 3, 5, is it 7 down from that too, is it, by any chance? But yeah, I think that's the difficulty. I remember playing with Peebles, and I think it was, I maybe played the first 4 seasons, we had 3 league restructures, and it does disrupt things a bit, but again, teams, with the emergence of Super 6 as well, I think you're starting to see where teams are and where they're going to be levelled. And we discussed it at yesterday's show, the fact that 10-team leagues are probably a beneficial thing for fixture congestion, but also to make games competitive. You look at all the leagues that we've got, luckily most of them are quite competitive, but the bottom of this National 1, there's 2 teams cut adrift, but you look at the Premiership and everybody's still got something to play for.
Of course, there'll be 4 more teams playing National League Rugby next season. There's going to be obviously 4 National League divisions as well as the Premiership, but the big question, can 50 clubs financially afford to travel much further at a time when travel costs are at an all-time high, and of course many players don't want to travel?
Yeah, I think there's loads of issues with club rugby, and for one season there could be a club thriving and being able to afford everything that they do, but then the next year all of a sudden they lose players. You look at perhaps Howe Fife as an example. They were a team that were coming through. They've been able to breed a lot of really successful players, international level, professional level, but all of a sudden they had a little bit of a faux pas a few years ago, and players go away and they start to plummet down the leagues, and that's just the nature. If you look back at leagues years and years ago, there'll be different names towards the top, but there's got to be a way that the clubs can really serve their community, make sure it's a product that the community want to buy into, and as well that they want to be involved in, because there is not a better club, I think, in Scotland, in rugby clubs to learn and grow as a youngster.
Well, more from Dale later on, but let's go up to Edinburgh, where the Premiership match at Goldenacre today is between Heriots in 9th and JEDFOREST in 8th position. And we're going to speak to Robin Purdie, who's going to be covering the game with Sam Mathews, and with bottom team Musselburgh playing Embrackis about a mile from you at Rayburn Place today. This is going to be a tense afternoon of rugby in the capital.
It certainly is, Stuart. Good afternoon from Goldenacre, and like it is with you guys, it is glorious here at the moment, and you've got long odds on that on the drive up to Edinburgh from the Borders this morning. It is a great day, and it should make for a great game between two teams who the league would suggest are very evenly matched.
Now, Heriots have blown hot and cold this season with some excellent results, but also some poor defeats as well. So is it a case of what Heriots side turns up today?
I think so, and I think, in fairness to Heriots, they obviously were the team that came up from National 1, and they've been finding their feet this season. But you're absolutely right. Now, Jed, on the other hand, look like they've got their strongest outfit of the season so far. So yeah, it very much will depend what Heriots team turns up, and they, of course, as well as looking to get the 4 or 5 points here today, they're looking to avenge a fairly heavy reversal at Riverside earlier in the season. So yeah, it's all on the line today. These two teams both want to put more daylight between themselves and Musselburgh at the foot of the table. As you say, Musselburgh with a tricky looking away fixture not far from here at Rayburn Place against the Edinburgh Ackies. So yeah, if Musselburgh get beat today and either of these teams here win, then there's daylight.
And of course, we've had this break of 4 weeks now through weather and obviously the festivities going on over the Christmas period. So none of these teams have actually played. So it's going to be very, very interesting. One good thing about that, of course, although they haven't had any rugby, a lot of niggles have been unniggled, if you like. The players are back fully fit and a full squad for both of them to choose from.
Yeah, they both look like they've got full squads out today, and just looking at all the games, when I was looking at the teams for all the games, all the teams look strong. You're absolutely right. Those niggles that were there sort of November time, a lot of them will have dispersed, and yeah, two strong teams here today. They'll be looking to go toe to toe, and yeah, both these teams need all of their, certainly all of their best players now for today and the next 4 weeks, because neither of these teams are safe yet.
Now, one of the key men for Heriots will be a borderer, ex-Gala, ex-Hoyk winger Craig Robertson, who famously scored 6 tries in a match for Heriots, and also he did the trick again for Scottish Universities at Peffermill. I was there against Ireland. He scored 6 tries for the Scottish Rugby League team there, and he's scoring tries for fun again this season.
Yeah, he scored 14 tries from 13 league games, I think, this season, which, frankly, given where Heriots are in the table, is a ridiculous statistic. He's top of the try scoring charts by a clear 3 tries from whoever it is in second, and yeah, it's a phenomenal strike rate. He's been a try scorer, as you say, as you alluded to. He's been a try scorer for a number of years now, and I had a quick word with him just before the game down the front of the stand here at Goldenacre, and he seems quietly confident this afternoon.
Now, Jed's last away game resulted in a very hard-fought victory by a point on the road at Glasgow Hawks, and once again Finlay Scott, Mr. Cool, ice in his blood, slotting a penalty late on to win the match. Can they get the points this afternoon?
Oh, absolutely they can. They run up 50 points against Heriots at Riverside. It's a different looking Heriots today, admittedly, on the team sheet. But yeah, you mentioned that man Finlay Scott. It could come down to his boot again. He's won 2 games for Jed with last dying second kicks home to Mar, away to Glasgow Hawks. That win last time out, albeit it was over a month ago. Probably a season defining victory there potentially. So yeah, it could come down to his boot again today, absolutely. And he's a steady kicker, and as I said before, it's glorious conditions. The pitch looks great. There's not a breath of wind at the moment, and yeah, he's a man you want in the ranks on a day like this.
Well, you've already been speaking with the 2 coaches, Andrew Brown from JEDFOREST and Heriots' Phil Smith, who's been in charge at Goldenacre now for about 10 years. Let's hear what they had to say, starting with Jed boss Andrew Brown.
So, Andrew, there's been a few weeks since your last game. How has training gone during the break? I imagine your new indoor facility's been a godsend.
Yeah, it's been class. Brilliant to have that facility. To be able to train and to be able to do it with some intensity, whether it's fitness or whether it's skills or weights or whatever. It's just it only adds to and it gets lads involved as well. So attendance has been good.
Excellent. And you had a huge, possibly season-defining win last time out v Glasgow Hawks. With that in mind, did the break of a few weeks possibly come at a bad time?
I'll tell you better after today. That was I haven't made my mind up. Yes, it's we did get momentum and we had a great win at Hawks. Unfortunately, we did have a few knocks, so it's given us a chance for them lads to heal. So I think we're possibly at our strongest today. Probably the first time we've had everybody available for selection this season, so yeah, momentum was with us. Whether it still is, I don't know. We'll know better after today.
Of course, and Ben Fotheringham's a new recruit from New Zealand. Tell us a bit about him and how impressed you've been by his contribution in the short time that he's been here.
He's really good. Like, you can see on the park that his contributions are massive. He's silent assassin, doesn't really say a lot, just goes about his business, does his job, but does it extremely well, and speaks when he needs to say something.
And Lewis Young replaced in the team today by brother Callum. What's the thinking behind that?
Unfortunately, Lewis has had a bit of illness over Christmas and stuff, so he although he's not made selection, he was available, but just as I say, illness and flu going sort of around as I think most of the population's got flu or something at the moment.
As the season's unfolded and we start to see where teams sit in the league, obviously today both teams have very much the same objective. Is this a game that's had a big red cross next to it for a few weeks now?
Well, every game has a big red cross. We don't go into any game thinking that we're going to, we target every game to win. We're not here just to compete and to take part. We're here to win. We're here to play rugby, and we want to come away with as many points as possible on the day. Obviously, where we're sitting in the table does mean that this is a target game, and we do. All games now we need to take some points. But we're here to win. The lads are competitive. We're here to win. Yeah,
and obviously, if you do win today, I know you won't look too much past this game, but a win here today, then GHA at home, big couple of weeks. Win both those games, is it job done?
I wouldn't say so. You've got to keep fighting right to the end. And that's our target. We've got 5 weeks. We've been sort of saying the last few sessions. We've got a 5-game sort of sprint, and the lads are keen to work hard, to play well, and to finish strong.
For joining us at the back stand here at Goldenacre, I guess today it's two teams with the exact same objective to keep daylight between yourselves and Musselburgh at the foot of the table. Can we expect anything other than a tight affair this afternoon?
I hope not, in respect of I hope we win and win well, but based on the game down at Riverside, I expect it to be a really, I don't want to call it entertaining, but a really rugby orientated fixture whereby both teams are absolutely going for it. And if you look at I've looked at Jed obviously, and they play. Their last game against Hawks, they fought all the way to the death and won at the end. So we know that no matter what happens, we've got 80 minutes we're going to have to battle all the way to the end.
And as the team that was promoted from National 1 last season, was this season's goal to simply finish 9th or above and consolidate your place in the top division?
Yeah, you all want to be a bit more ambitious, but the reality is I think 9th is going to be great for us, based on what we've seen and what we know about all the other teams in the league, which is just they're really tough, and it's been great eye opener for the younger players, and for ourselves having come back up. We've recognised that the Premiership is in really good shape, and we need to keep battling to stay up because we want another crack at it next year.
Yeah, and this is the exact same question I asked Andrew Brown. Obviously, you're similar positions in the league. As the weeks and months have rumbled on, has this been a specific game that you've targeted?
I don't know, because week to week we're finding that we're actually, despite the results not always going our way, we've been in a fight for most of the games, apart from was the Jed game down there where we've been close. So I don't think I can actually we target games now because we think we've got a chance in almost every weekend, and the difficulty is just seeing it all the way through, because we've definitely found moments where the opposition have just been able to take control at the wrong time for us, and that's the biggest learning, I think, for our guys. Yeah,
and unfortunately you recently incurred a 2-point deduction, I believe, for an administrative error in relation to a number of Super 6 and Academy players. Is it a case there of what's done is done, and a negative can possibly turn into a positive, perhaps, in terms of building a siege mentality?
No, I mean the players don't really care, because it's like it's happened. It's a nightmare. I think many people might have looked at the Curry game where we picked up 2 points as a bonus, getting those 2 points. So there's a little bit of, maybe that actually is the knockoff on that. It's just frustrating because it was nobody's fault. It was no intention of anything negative, and it's turned into that. And it was just a poor outcome to lose a couple of points, which might end up being really important.
Yeah, and when winning promotion last season, you won the big games when it really mattered. Gala away especially springs to mind. Is that mentality something you're able to rekindle as you head into this game in the last 4 rounds of the season?
Well, we hope so, but we don't have maybe all the players from last season, obviously, but we've certainly got people like Graham Wilson, Ali Johnson, sort of key players in the middle of the game, who have brought a lot of last season's success, and combining it with some of the young lads today and this season, we're hoping they get an understanding of maybe just the importance of the game, because it's massive for us. If we can get this win today, it just gives us a bit of breathing space. And I know Jed will be saying the same, but we feel as if it's at home, it's an opportunity to try and kick on a wee bit at the start of a new year.
Indeed. Well, the weather's great, the pitch looks to be in great condition. Phil, all the very best this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Hi, Nicky Walker here, Curriculum Manager for Borders College Sport. Are you passionate about sport? If so, then look out for the return of our Borders College Rugby, Football and Hockey courses in early 2023.
Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
To commemorate the 7th anniversary of the opening of the Borders Railway, an 8 DVD box set is now available, featuring the complete series Borders Railway from start to finish, plus the full hour-and-a-half documentary 5 Years On, which examines the possibility of an extension to Carlisle, plus extra features, including a cab journey along the entire Borders Railway, all for the special price of just £14.99, including post and packing. You can get your copy direct from hotdisc.co.uk/shop. That's hotdisc.co.uk/shop. The 8 DVD box set, The Complete Borders Railway, is available now.
When the weather's dreich and a storm's a brewing, you need a strong, windproof, quality umbrella delivered with good old-fashioned customer service and at an affordable price. Up here in Umbrella Heaven, we say you tackle the ball, we'll tackle the weather. UmbrellaHeaven.com for when the heavens open.
Hello, this is George Ingles here, and I'm thrilled that my songs are now available on 2 albums, Anthology and Lockdown Blues.
Late in the evening, she's wondering what clothes to wear.
Both available on iTunes to download and stream.
I am the train, been gone since 69.
George Ingles Anthology and Lockdown Blues. Check them out now on iTunes and other digital sites.
This is Borders Rugby Special on Borders Rugby Radio.
Yes, coming to you live from the Greenyards. We'll be going up to Goldenacre very, very shortly for their 2 o'clock kick-off between Heriots and JEDFOREST. But Hawick have to overcome a big threat in the Premiership this afternoon. Top of the table, still unbeaten after 13 matches with 12 wins. And of course that draw on the first day of the season against Selkirk. But today they travel to Scottish champions Millar, and Fullerton Park is not the easiest place to get a win. Let's hear from Green's head coach, and that is of course Matty Douglas.
I remember looking at the fixtures when they came out pre-season and this one stood out, after New Year, away at the Prem champions. Always going to be a tough game, no matter what the league standings or anything like that. So, look, Millar are a top side. They won last season's Premiership. Maybe had a shaky start to the season, but they've won their last 5 or 6, and they'll be full of confidence. And we're at the top of the league. Everybody's chasing us. Everybody wants to beat us, and it's got to be no different on Saturday. Last season we struggled twice there, especially in the playoff, just coming up short. So, you never dwell on things that have happened, but it probably has been a little bit of a driver at training this week, that we know what's coming, we know what to expect, and it's about us and how we deal with it and how we perform. We feel if we can get our set piece where it's been the last couple of months and get a platform to play off. Look, we've got a strong bench this week as well, so we're looking to try and keep that consistency performance again through the 80 minutes like we did against Aki. So that's a challenge again this week, and we just need to make sure we get the little things right. And 5 league games left, everybody's vying for a playoff spot, so it's up to us to keep the performances up to a high standard and look to pick up as many points in January as we can and see what happens at the end of it. Home semi-final, it's a must for us now, and it's the pressure of making sure we get that. Team news: couple of changes for the Aki's game. Front row stays the same, so Sean Muir, Fraser Rennick, Nicky Little. Sean Fairbairn comes in for Dalton Redpath. to join Daniel Sudden in the middle row, and in the back row is Connor Sutherland, Callum Rennick and Stuart Graham comes in for Jay Linton, who's away on holiday for a couple of weeks. Obviously a big blow to have Jay missing, but Stuart Graham is a top class player as well, so he'll just slot in there. In the back line, one change, in comes Hector Patterson for Gareth Welsh. Ronan McKean could be a late fitness test through illness, but we'll just have to see how he goes. On the bench is Matty Carrier returns, Tom Hope, Ross Graham, Dalton Redpath and Bailey Donaldson make up the bench. So strong settled squad, and challenge this week is to put a performance in, away from home against the current Prem champions, and hopefully come back down the road with the points.
Matty Douglas there talking ahead of their game against Mar this afternoon. Our other local team are Selkirk. They're still unbeaten away from home, and they'll want to keep that record going at Braidholme this afternoon against GHA. We caught up with head coach Scott White.
Christmas break, it probably came at a great time for us in terms of we're carrying a few niggles within the squad, so it's great that obviously the boys have now been able to kind of dust them off, and but we've had a fair bit downtime, and we returned probably the first time we've actually trained together as a whole squad would be Tuesday night, so it was great to obviously get boys back in. Really positive session, and obviously we go on the road to GHA this week. We realise obviously the league's now starting to get fairly tight round about 3, 4, 5. So as I said to the boys on Tuesday night, we've kind of still in control of our own destiny. And you look at the last 5 league games, 3 away, 2 at home. I know we've got a chance. There's no question about it. But it's important that we probably get back to basics. We get back to basics on Saturday, and I think coming out the back of the New Year kind of window, where there's not been any games, and then also the 2 weeks prior to Christmas the games being cancelled, is probably going to be the team that I dare say makes the least amount of mistakes. There'll be some rustiness in there from everybody. That's both teams, no question about that, and I think it'll be whoever takes their chances will will win. Team wise this week, Luke Petty will return, which is great, so it'll be Luke, Bruce Riddle, Zen. Front row, middle row will be James Head, partnered by, still kind of probably decide in there, but obviously we've got Donald Nicholl returning this week, which is great, but also Callum Turnbull and Andrew Cochrane, so they'll make up kind of the middle row. In the back row will be Scott McClymont and Munro Job, along with one of the 3 before, 9 Jack Hamilton, 10 Aaron McComb, 12 Craig Jackson, 13 Ryan Cottrell. The wings will be Josh Welsh, Lachlan Ferguson and Callum Anderson will return at fullback as well, so we're close to being full strength in terms of probably the key guys that are missing. Probably Andrew McComb, he's really stepped up to the plate this year in terms of taking a real leader role in around the line out and stuff, and I thought his performance had been excellent, along with kind of Mr. Versatility Ross Nixon. He's unavailable this weekend, but look, we're in a good place. We obviously like away from home as well, we're not being beat on the road yet, so everybody's looking forward to it and getting rugby back underway.
Scott White looking to secure playoff place for Selkirk by mid-February, when hopefully all the matches will be played. We're here, of course, at the Green Yards this afternoon for Melrose versus AYR. We'll be building up to that in more depths before 3 o'clock kick-off. But let's hear from the Kelso camp right now. Kelso topped the table with a game in hand, but on the same points as AYR with 53. Here are the thoughts of Director of Rugby Neil Hinnigan as they take on Biggar today.
Good to get back to business this Saturday against Biggar. Biggar before Christmas were in really good form. I think they'd won 4 or 5 of their last games, and not only that, Biggar are always a tough game, and yeah, we won. We got a bonus point at Biggar at Hartree Mill, but it was one of those games where right until the last 15 minutes it could have went either way, and it's a team we really respect a lot. Very big pack, and it'll be a fair old scrap, especially in what the conditions probably will be. So we're under no illusions what's coming. We know it's going to be difficult. I've openly played things down up till Christmas, and I think that was the correct thing. We weren't, we didn't know exactly how good or bad we were going to be this season. We had planned to do what we're doing, but things don't always work out that way, and thankfully so far they have, and we've laid it down to the players that if they want to continue this, then there is no other game apart from Biggar on Saturday. Nothing down the line matters unless they win on Saturday. So we've really got to get off to a good start and get back at it. But because we respect Biggar so much, we know that outcome we might not get the outcome we want, but if we play to our strengths and we play well and everybody's on it, then we believe we will get the result we're looking for. But it's a big month. We've got Biggar, then Stumel, and then we're away to Highland, which will be massive. And then we have a resurgent gala coming to Poynter at the end of the month. So things will be a lot clearer by the end of January. Obviously, Melrose have got to play here this month, and Watsonians play here, and so on and so on. So there's lots of ramifications that could present itself this month. So it's a huge month for every club. One's at the bottom and one's at the top, and yeah, things will get mapped out this month. So we really need to be on it. Team selection wise, it's pretty settled to what it was before. We still are missing Keith McNeil, Liam Herdman, and we do have a couple of potential illnesses. There is obviously a bug going about, and a lot of people are suffering from different forms of flu and whatnot. So we're no different. We've got a couple of guys that are maybe just nursing through that. They might make it, they might not. But overall, we're not in a bad place that way, and that would certainly never be an excuse for this week. We must be on it, and boys must be really, really up for it. And if they have aspiration and ambition, this is a game they must win.
OK, Neil Hinnigan, the Director of Rugby at Kelso. Of course, Gala have a home tie against Dundee today. Alan Lorimer will be checking in with us a little bit later on. But in National League 2 today, Peebles are in 4th place, visit Dumfries, who are in the bottom half of the table, while in 9th it's Berwick, who host Boroughmuir. And I think we can go to Scremiston now and join Mickey Ganotta.
Good news for Berwick. Influential centre James Thompson and number 8 Ali Grieve return from injury. Not so good, Rory Hindhoff and Ewan Thompson are away skiing. Hindhoff's a class fullback, while Thompson strengthens a scrum, which I think often comes off second best. To be fair, coach Colin Young disagrees with me. They're currently 9th, 2 points from a lofty 5th, but 5 go down. Boroughmuir are second bottom. They beat Berwick on the opening day and since have only beaten bottom club Hamilton. It would be unfair to say Berwick were overawed that day. They played well despite the scoreline. The visitors will also be looking over their shoulder at any possible consequences to the Super Six. It's wet and it's Berwick against Boroughmuir.
Thank you very much indeed to Mickey Ganotta down at Scremiston. Well, we do have time to hook up with Hugh Brown, who's following the fortunes of Hoyt Quinns. They've travelled to Inverleith today for their game in East League 3.
Last time I saw the Quins in November when they lost narrowly in the final of the East League Bowl to Edinburgh University Medics, though they did gain revenge the following week with a win in the league. Talking of the league, Hoyt remain unbeaten with 5 wins and sit second, whilst today's opponents, Inverleith, are rock bottom with just 1 win from 7 games. So on paper, this should be a stroll in the park for the Wilton Lodge men, but as we know, rugby isn't played on paper. Hoyt Quins coach Brian Rennick tells me he has injury worries and some lads who are working today, but he still has a squad of 20 to choose from. Pitch conditions are quite soft, but the sun is out here at Inverleith Park for Inverleith versus Hoyt Harlequins. Kick-off at 2 o'clock.
Well, we're just a couple of minutes away from kick-off at Goldenacre. Let's head down there now for the first half commentary of the Premiership game between Heriots and JEDFOREST. Waiting for us there, Sam Mathews and first of all, Robin Purdie.
Thank you, Stuart. The cheese boards may be finished and it's only Snickers left in the chocolate tub, but we are getting into the business end of the Tenants Premiership season and it's all to play for here at Goldenacre this afternoon. Both these teams are pretty evenly matched as per the league table, and both have exactly the same objective today, that is to put more points between themselves and Musselburgh at the foot of the table. Jed currently sit 8th on 23 points, Heriots are 9th on 19, while Musselburgh are bottom of the pile on 15 points. So both these proud old clubs know that a win today would see them head into the last 4 rounds with a bit more breathing space. Joining me in the commentary box today is Sam Mathews. So, Sam, if I was to take a couple of quid of your Christmas money, which of these two teams should I be backing today?
Oh, it's tough to tell today with these two teams. You look at the form they're in, they've both only won 1 of their last 5, but interestingly the losses have come against big teams. Jed have lost to Curry, Hoyt, and they've lost to Selkirk twice in back-to-back weeks, but they did beat Hawks previous to the Christmas break. And then you look at Heriots, they've lost to Curry as well, they lost to Mar twice, but they did lose to Hawks. So if you have to say that, Jed beat Hawks, Hawks beat Heriots, so I'd put my money on Jed this afternoon.
Well, certainly the reverse fixture back in October saw Jed come away with the spoils in what was a high scoring encounter, 51 points to 20. Here's hoping we see some similar try scoring exploits this afternoon, but it might be a different dynamic now that there's a clearer picture of what's at stake for these two clubs.
Yeah, well, it's obviously at the start of the season. The case is just rack up as many points as you can in the table and make sure you don't need to fight for it come the end of the season. But they're here now, they know the situation. As you said, when there is that fear on the line of that relegation spot, you do find that extra gear, you find that extra drive. As we've said, nobody's played rugby in almost 5 weeks now, so there's a lot of walking wounded, especially I know Jed had a lot of players that were carrying niggles, so they've been able to get some rest. So yeah, we could see two very different teams compared to the performances we were watching in 2022.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree, and we're just about to get underway here at Goldenacre. Heriots are going to kick off. They're going to attack what you'd class as the Edinburgh Castle. And here, whereas Jed will play towards Newhaven, Granton Ferry Road, as the referee this afternoon, Kieran Stark, prepares to blow his whistle. Conditions remain glorious here this afternoon, so we should be in for a decent encounter between these two evenly matched teams, and we're underway. Kicks went straight down the middle of the park. It's been gobbled up by Jed forward, who takes 2 or 3 Heriots defenders to drag him down. Jed just outside their own 22, and that's the first carry of this afternoon for the second rower, Dan Wardrop, alongside captain Clark Skeldon in the Boiler House today. So Jed looking to exert control early on. The burly figure of Paulo Ferreira trucks that one up. Now here's the first carry for Paxton. Again, a couple of Heriots defenders to drag him down. It's Bambrick to Gary Munro. Gary Munro's found Robbie Hurston on a good line. Now here's the first break of the afternoon. Robbie Hurston up towards his boot to ball. Robbie Hurston, now there's a foot race on. Callum Young's after this. The Heriots cover comes over just shy of the Heriots line. They've done really well there, Heriots, to mop that one up, but they're camped deep inside their own 22. Great opening start for Jed here. Heriots now looking to exit, and that's a good carry by one of their forwards. He's made 5 or 6 metres there. Heriots inching towards their own 22 here. Very encouraging for Jed so far. And this is going to go into the box from the Heriots scrum half, Ross Thompson. It is indeed. And that's gone out in a touch, and that's a very encouraging start for Jed, Sam.
Yeah, you have to say that was a great line by Robbie Hurston there. Gary Munro and Bambrick getting good combinations in early, really finding the space. Great cover tackle by Ross Thompson as well there, former Peebles lad. I thought the name was just, he's got a very obvious name, so I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but great cover tackling, like you said, good cover work by the number 8 for Heriots there to stop that, mop it up, and now let's hopefully if they can get a bit of defensive line out on the go here.
Yeah, it was Ali Johnson in his 6th game for Heriots this season, but it's a Jed line out 8 metres or so outside the 22 of Heriots, thrown in of course by Finlay Scott, this goal kicking hooker, and it was taken in at the tail by Blake Ruff, the open side flanker, the New Zealander. So Jed looking to roll this maul forward. They're inching forward, it's moving infield as well. Referee Kieran Stark, has he told Jed that they'll need to play this? No, it's inching forward up towards the 22. Still in control of this Jed in this promising start. It's Bambrick now. Bambrick to Munro. Long floated pass out to Gregor Young. Gregor Young with the footwork, as is his wont. Now here comes his brother, and that's another good offload to Robbie Hurston. Robbie Hurston having a fine start to this game. Heriots player over the ball, but it's came back on the Jed side. Now it's Gary Young, the blind side forward. Blake Ruff has a snipe round the side and makes another couple of metres. Jed deep in the 22 here. Paulo Ferreira nicks another metre or 2. There's a Heriots player again over that, but the referee's fine, and again it's going to come back on the Jed side. So Bambrick finds his forward. Jed happy to truck this up the jumper stuff at this stage. Bambrick again. They're going to come back on the open side. Now it's Munro, Gregor Young. There's men over for Jed, but Gregor Young goes inside. Good tackle by the Heriots player on Gregor Munro. Has that been knocked on? It has now. The referee's going to bring them back, knock forward, but again, promising stuff from Jed, Sam.
Yeah, and what I like is the tempo they're playing at as well. It's very controlled and collected. They're not trying to force anything early. They're just letting themselves walk into the game at a nice, slow pace, and they're really just going to take the energy out of Heriots in this first 10 minutes, which is a really good tactic when you're away from home to really suck the atmosphere out of the crowd.
So it's going to be the first scrum. We'll quickly run through the teams. It's Rory Steele at fullback for Heriots, Ben Evans and ex-Gallowman Craig Robertson on the wings. The centres are Paul Christie and Oisin Quinn. Rory Carmichael's at 10. Ross Thompson is at 9. Front row, John Lascelles, Matthew Toward and Archie Bogle. Middle row, Charlie Jupp and Malachy Keogh. Back row of Martin Hughes, Innes Hill and Ali Johnson will come to the Jed team at the next stoppage, but it's a Heriots scrum 15 metres in from the touchline, almost equidistant between their own try line and their own 22. Typically enough, the first scrum of the day has gone down, so we're going to have our first reset, and we hope not to have too many of those. It's certainly the conditions would suggest that it is very firm underfoot. The ground staff here have done a great job over the last period of time whereby there's been bad weather by the looks of things, sir.
Yes, but what is interesting, I thought this exact same thing when we arrived today, so I did my best to get on a Premiership pitch, and I went and touched just the inside of the touchline there, and in this bottom corner where the scrum is, there is still a bit of dampness in the ground and a bit of mud, so we'll let the forwards off for that one on the first scrum of the day.
Yeah, well, that could have been a contributing factor, and that's a good shunt for Jed now that it's came in, but it's been taken by the Heriots. Number 8, he's done well there, Ali Johnson. Heriots still camped inside their own 22, now in the shadow of their own post. It's moved infield. Ross Thompson. Heriots now trying to bash it up through the backs, but they're not making too much ground. They're crabbing across the field, and now the kick's been put in, and it's going to be another line out to Jed just outside the Heriots 22. So to run through the Jed team, Callum Young is at fullback today. The wingers are the free scoring Mason Cullen and Robbie Shearer-Gibb. In the centres are Robbie Eurston and Gregor Young. Gary Monroe's at 10, Aidan Bambrick 9. Front row of Grant Paxton and Paulo Ferreira at props. The goal kicking hooker is Finlay Scott. Dan Wardrop and Captain Clark Skeldon form the middle row, while Gary Young, Blake Rough and recent New Zealand acquisition Ben Fotheringham make up the back row. The line out has been stolen by Heriots, so that's a let-up for them, and they're going to attempt their first territory to gain some of the first territory of the day. Thompson finds Carmichael. Now the Heriots backs, first chance for them to make an imprint on this game, and they've worked their way up to the 10 metre line, but that's been knocked on by Heriots. Now there's an advantage coming, and it's the dangerous Callum Young that's picked this one up, but that's a good tackle by his opposite number. But the referee's going to bring them back for what looked like a knock on, and yes, indeed, it's going to be a scrum to Jed, 5 metres in from the stand touchline, right on halfway. And yeah, both these teams feeling each other out. Sam, that was a decent exit from Heriots there.
Yeah, that was a very good exit from Heriots, because you have to think you've spent the best part of 6 of the opening 7 minutes on your own try line, maybe 15 metres out, but Jed have come away with no points from that, so they're really going to have to cite that as a worry. But what they can take away from this is, if Heriots have to make clearance kicks and exit kicks a lot, if they one missed touch, like you said, you've got Shearer-Gibb and Cullen on the wings who will return the ball. Callum Young's got a good distribution of pass, so it can work for them in their favour, but they do have to be wary of not coming away with points when they're camped that deep in Heriots half.
So it's Bambrick to feed this Jed scrum. Ex-Kelso prop Archie Bogle on this near side for Heriots, and that's a solid Jed scrum. Bambrick goes fishing for it, brings it out. Monroe, now Monroe with a cross kick. That's an interesting tactic in this early in the game, and Mason Cullen's after that. Rory Steele's coming across. Now Rory Steele's taken that, but he's been flattened by Cullen, and Cullen's taken the ball off Steele. He's dived over the line. The referee has given the try. Mason Cullen, 8 tries from 9 games this season, make that 9 from 10, Sam.
Yeah, and what I said about not coming away with points, it doesn't matter if you can put in a crossfield kill like that from the halfway line. And Steele a bit unlucky. He was a victim of the bounce there. He didn't really get good connection when he got on top of it, and it squirted out the side. And Mason Cullen, he has a sixth sense for where a rugby ball is on a pitch, and he just dived on it and got it over that try line. Yeah, Rory Steele, the ex-Heriots Super 6 fullback, was on his own there. He was very much on his lonesome. He did decent enough initially, but Mason Cullen was all over him there. As you say, the ball squirted out, and Mason Cullen was only too happy to dive on that. And first blood to Jed here in this vital encounter at the foot of the Tennent's Premiership table. Mason Cullen, brilliant young player for Jed, of course, and it's going to be the first kick of the day. A very difficult kick over towards the far touchline here for the right-footed Finlay Scott. This goal-kicking hooker, match winner for Jed on a couple of occasions this season. Let's see what he's got as he begins his run-up. Scott, he struck that well. What are the linesmen going to say? No, he's let that one drift wide, but yeah, Jed have been impressive so far, Sam. Yeah, they've had all the ball. Heriots have had, I think, about 7 phases to their name so far, so it'll be interesting to see. Ross Thompson is a very good game management scrum half, so it'll be interesting to see how he tries to pull his team back into this now that they are 5 points down. So it's going to be Heriots to get us back underway, and again they've gone not the best of dropouts, and it's fallen into the hands of Wardrop for his second carry of the afternoon. So Jed looking to build from deep, recycle the ball.
as they've done here. Bambrick again, he's got Finlay Scott. Blake Roth's coming at pace, but he's a decoy on that occasion. Finlay Scott takes it up. Roth's in to support. Now it's back into the pocket for Monroe. He's got a big boot, Gary Monroe, and he showed it there. He's kicked that into the Heriots 22. Now, did that look forward to Steele? The referee's happy enough. So Rory Steele, this ex-Super 6 fullback, he runs into the heavy traffic, but he's presented it well on this near side. Now that's a dart by Carmichael. The standoff for Heriots, experienced campaigner Rory Carmichael. He's been around the place for a long time. That's Ennis Hill, the open side with a carry. So here come Heriots, and that's an inside ball, but it's been well marshalled by the Jed defence, just shy of the halfway line. Heriots maintain possession. Bogle got a bit of free space there, and Heriots have just managed to conjure something. They're up towards the 10-metre line, and but they've knocked that on. The referee, however, is not happy with the positioning of Jed. He's deemed the Jed player to have strayed offside, so Heriots with a penalty here just within the Jed 10-metre line. It looks like they're going to put this down the touchline, as you'd imagine from that position, and that's exactly what they've done. So it's going to be a Heriots line out on the Jed 22, and you'd imagine, Sam, that Heriots are looking to exert some pressure here.
Yeah, in the first two lineouts, it's been clear that Heriots have got a bit more of the ascendancy in it, having stole one already. So you think they'll really try to get an attacking platform off this, and it'll be interesting to see whether they use the backs. Like you said, you've got Rory Steele, former Super 6, 15 there, so he'll obviously be able to run a dynamic line.
So Toward, the hooker, he finds his man in the middle as Heriots look to try and rumble this line out, but the Jed defence are holding firm. It's not moving apace, that is for sure, but it is inching forward. Now they're going to have to use it here, Heriots. There's a Jed player got round legally. Is that going to come back on the Jed side now? Yes, it is indeed, and that's great defence by Jed.
Yeah, that was stunning defence there. They managed to use Heriots' attack against them. Heriots tried to spin it to obviously get the angle on, and Jed let them go the whole way around, caused the upset, collapsed on the ball, and now, as everybody knows, you take a ball into a maul and it doesn't come back out, you're going to lose it. So now let's see how Jed clear out of this 22. Yeah, and it was the skipper, Clark Skeldon, in the middle of that, and he's produced a captain's innings there in a defensive mode. So it's going to be a Jed scrum where the line out was, right on their own 22. It'll be Bambrick to feed it as the referee has a chat with the two front rows as they come together. He's taking his time here, the referee's making his instructions clear. That's them together now. So finally Bambrick to feed this one, and he's done exactly that. It's the new recruit Fotheringham at number 8, and that's another big carry by inside centre Urston. Now it's to Ferreira. Ferreira only knows one way, takes a couple of Heriots players with him. Set up now, so Jed just outside their own 22. Skeldon sets it back. Bambrick to Roth. Roth has a dart, and Roth almost got through there. He was scragged by the ankles eventually. Now it's back with Monroe in the pocket inside his own 22, and again he's put decent yardage on that Monroe, and it's drifted into the Heriots 22. Steele controls it with the boot. Now Steele puts it down the park. Is that going to go into touch? Yes, it is, and that's a decent enough clearance by Steele, but again territorial advantage for Jed there. Monroe with the boot. Yeah, and it's a very clear, but it's a simple but effective strategy they've got. You've got a low hanging winter sun, it's covering at one corner perfectly, that is an absolute blind spot for that Heriots defence. So Monroe just keeps putting balls up in the air, makes them contest it. Obviously, the higher he puts it, the longer the kick chase is. It takes more time for the ball to reach the ground, and it's longer here. The defence has to look into the sun, so it's simple. And as you say, they're making 10-15 metres with every kicking battle. Yeah, and the line, it was very clearly taken by Roth, and it's another pump pass by Monroe, that time to Callum Young. It's back on the Jed side. Bambrick, and Monroe's kicked again towards the touchline, and it's drifted into touch just on the Heriots 22, so he's looking very composed at the moment, Monroe. Yeah, and that was a great bounce as well. I think he must have had about 3 blades of grass between that and the whitewash the first time, so to get that bounce was very well played by Monroe. Yeah, it's been almost like a new signing to extent. Monroe coming back in recent weeks after a wee bit of a break from the game for the first few months of the season, but he's slotted into that 10 shirt. He was impressive in defeat against Selkirk at Riverside back in November.
and he's set Jed a position here where it's a Heriots line out just on their own 22. Jed with most of the territory so far, but that's been cleanly taken in by the returning Martin Hughes for Heriots, his first game of the season. He was a regular in the Heriots first team pre-COVID, but he's been badly hampered by injury since then. Now it's back with Thompson, the scrum half, and there's a willing runner there, but he's been well met by the rumbustious Gary Young playing on the open side today, but equally adept at number 8, of course, and Steele is back to clear his lines. That's not going to go to touch, however. It's fallen into the arms of Robbie Shearer-Gibbs. Shearer-Gibbs got Callum Young inside him. Now it's to Mason Cullen. Mason Cullen's off and running here. He's not thinking of kicking it. Now he finds Gregor Young. Gregor Young's halted in his tracks just inside his own half. On the far side here at Goldenacre, conditions remain glorious as Jed look to recycle possession here, but there's been an illegal infringement in there, and the penalty's going to go to Heriots, and that's a wee bit of a let-off, Sam.
Yeah, you have to say there was a space there. I think the referee's called it, somebody put their hands in the ruck, so clearly one of the Jed backs there managed to find himself in a ruck. How he did that, I don't know, but he was there, and he obviously wasn't confident enough in the presentation, stuck his hands on the ball, and now Heriots, you think they're going to do the same again and target that 22 just inside in the far corner?
Yeah, and they've done exactly that, Sam. They've kicked to exactly the 22, so we're back where we were 5 minutes ago. That is a Heriots line out on the far touchline here at Goldenacre, right on the Jed 22. It's going to be Matthew Tower, the hooker, who's been on the mark with his arrows so far, and he's on the mark again there. He hits the tall figure of Malachi Keogh in the middle of the line out, and they bring it in field. Heriots, they're again, however, just on the Jed 22. Now that's been well taken in there by the Heriots player, the numberless Heriots player. So has that been turned over by Jed? No, it's in the referee's arm is out, Kieran Stark, so he's seen an illegal infringement in there by Jed, so there's a penalty coming. It's a free ball for Heriots. Keogh again with the carry, not making too much headway. Heriots just outside the Jed 22, but that's a better line, and there's a break on here for Heriots. They're into the Jed 22. Has that been put forward? Yes, indeed it has by Heriots, but the referee's going to bring them back. You would assume, yeah, he is. The referee's going to bring them back for that penalty infringement. So just Heriots just starting to creep back into this, Sam.
Yeah, they clearly got a bit of inspiration there. There was I think it was Paul Christie forced that last pass there to lead to the knock-on, but obviously we've come back for the earlier infringement. But there's signs of life there, and there's also signs of dynamic running. They really want to get that point across. What I'm liking as well is every maul there's always that little bit of afters, but it's becoming a bit noticeable there. I saw Finlay Scott and his opposite number catching up on how they got over Christmas there. So I'd like to see how this is going to get feisty and how it continues.
Yeah, there's going to be no quarter asked, and indeed none given in a fixture like this. Both teams with it all to play for at the foot of the table, but the last thing you want to do is go down a man, so we will indeed keep an eye on that as Matthew Toward throws into this line out on the Jed 5 metre line, and it's gone to the tail. It's been cleanly taken, and there's a rolling maul on here for Heriots. They're looking to move it on, and they're doing exactly that. It's been taken to ground, however, legally, deemed by referee Kieran Stark. Heriots with the big forwards coming down the corner. That's a break, and he's evaded the tackle, and Heriots are in for their first try of the afternoon, and that was almost out of nothing, Sam.
Yeah, you say it was a great line out throw from the hooker there. He hit the back of the line out superbly right on that 15 mark there. But then that maul, it really wasn't going anywhere. Like you said, it was more trying to go sideways than it was forwards, and then I think it kind of caught the defence off guard because everything was going one way, and he managed to spin out the side. And if you're making arms tackles on your 5 metre line, you're not going to manage to get that stop of that momentum. And then luckily enough, they didn't take him to ground, so he managed to bounce on one knee, so he didn't class us down in a tackle, and he got to reach out, put the ball over the line. I think it was number 8, Ali Johnston, for Heriots.
It was indeed Ali Johnson, yeah. So good work by the number 8. That ties things level at 5 apiece with a kick to come. Reasonably straightforward kick for Heriots. Maybe 20 metres in from the touchline. He begins his run up. And it's off the post. It drops onto the bar, and it's came back off the bar. So bit of a let off there for Jed.
Yeah, well, it makes it all square now, isn't it? We should say on the balance of the game, it's been very good. First 10 minutes, all Jed really camped in the Heriots half, and then now Heriots are showing the weapons and the danger they possess with dynamic running and offloading rugby.
Yeah, Jed have certainly had most of the territory, probably most of the possession in this game, but it is even Steven. We're back at 5-all 5 as Gary Munro gets things underway with a high hanger, but it's been taken in by Heriots just outside their own 22. There was a good chase by the Jed player there. Heriots have not made much ground as it comes back to Bogle, this burly prop, the ex-Kelso man. So it's just outside the 22 now. 5-all here at Goldenacre in this crunch match at the bottom of the table. Heriots looking to clear the lines here. Exit. Thompson has put it into the box, and it's Gregor Young that's under that, but it's been taken in by a Heriots player, so that's territory conceded by Jed. Now it's up into their own half, and Heriots have got the possession coming here. So Heriots have more than came back into this game after a bright start by Jed. That's Carmichael just inside his own half, and the kick's been put through there, but it's going to be fielded by Callum Young. But he has to take it with his own boot, but he's been wrapped up by Craig Robertson. It's going to have to be Bambrick to clear up here. There's a Heriots player in over that, and the referee has penalised Jed for holding on, so it's going to be another Heriots penalty. Good work there by Malachi Keogh, and the penalty is right on the Jed 22, 8 metres in from the touchline. What do you fancy them to do here, Sam?
Well, we saw the success they had. They had the 3 lineouts, obviously, in the opening 15 minutes in the 22. You'll think they'll go again. They'll try to get... There's accurate throws from the hooker here. Sorry, Matthew Tower. I should use his name. He deserves to have his name. He's been phenomenal in the opening 22 minutes. But yeah, they'll think they'll try to go for the same thing again. Maul will probably need a bit more work than before, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see the same attacking approach in this from the 5 metre channel. Yeah, well, there was no thought of the 3-pointer. They've gone to the touchline, and as you say, it's going to be Towered to throw in, and he continues to be accurate. That was Charlie Jupp, the second row, taking that at the front of the line out. Now here comes the try scorer, Ali Johnson, again with another carry, another useful carry, and he's still going. Did his knee touch the ground? Jed are going to have to keep an eye on him, but no, the referee agrees with me that his knee did touch the ground, so it's a penalty to Jed. Now a wee bit of a let off there. Yeah, it has to say, obviously in the previous play, Callum Young, when he had to put boot to ball there, he kind of waited for the ball to stop, which you can't do when you're facing like a slick grubber through. There's not distance between you and the oncoming chase. And then obviously poor Bambrick got sold down the river, and he had to turn over the ball for holding on to the ground. But now Jed have cleared their lines and we're back in Heriots half. Yeah, Gary Munro from 10 metres from his own line has put the laces through that, as they say, and it's going to be a Jed line out inside the Heriots half, just outside the Heriots 10 metre line. So a great clearance kick from Gary Munro. It's going to be Finlay Scott to throw in. Scott, there's some movement in the middle of the Jed line out there, but it's gone to the front and it's gone to Wardrop, and Wardrop's made 10 metres. That was canny stuff at the front of the line out by Jed there. Skeldon, and Skeldon's found Gary Young on a short ball. Now Gary Young is powering towards the line. Gary Young from about 40 metres. Has he got over? No, it comes back on the Jed side though. Jed inches from the Heriots line. Have they been held up, which would result in a dropout? No. Oh, they're over, Jed. They've crashed over, and out of nothing they've crashed over. We're trying to see who scored that. We're very much putting it down to the forwards, and it looks like a 6th try of the season for Paulo Ferreira, Sam. It was either him or Gary Young. Everybody's getting the handshakes. I think you could probably give it to both of them because they went over as a rank thing, but if you were a fan of forwards rugby, everything about that was beautiful. So what we can't show you on the line out in the TV, but on the radio, the line out was beautiful, as in they delayed the throw, and they waited until Heriots started to question it. They dropped their focus, they looked to the referee to complain, and at that point Wardrop was stood as front man in the line out. It was just a simple throw right to him. It went back to the scrum half, took it out, carry. As we said, Gary Young hit a great line. He must have covered the best part of 25 metres getting through there, and then it was a case of 3 pick and drives right on the edge of the try line, and then they got their just reward. That was a brilliant forwards try. Great forwards try, you're absolutely right, and it was almost a ploy with Clark Skeldon. He normally puts the shoulder down and trucks it, but it was a beautiful offload to the on-running blindside Gary Young, and he was not hanging around as Finlay Scott lines up this conversion. 14 metres in from the touchline on what you'd class as the good side for a right-footed kicker. Scott lines it up.
He struck it well. It dissects the uprights, Finlay Scott. So that takes Jed out to a 12-5 lead in this crucial fixture. On the balance of play, Sam, that's probably a justifiable scoreline, would you say?
Yeah, you have to say, like we said earlier, Heriots are showing danger and threat, but in terms of territory, possession, and I'd probably say work rate, to be fair, for the Jed forward pack right now, that was deserved. So let's see how the final 15 minutes of this first half unfold.
OK, we'll dive in at the moment because we have something happening at Berwick. Let's go to Scrimmerston and Mickey Yanotta.
It's 5-5 and Boroughmuir responding almost immediately. Alistair Bain with the try. However, the conversion, a kickable one missed by Ian Martin. Berwick 5, Boroughmuir 5.
Thank you to Mickey. Latest scores in the Premiership: Edinburgh Accies 14, Musselburgh 0, GHA 14, Selkirk 7, and as we've just heard, Heriots Blues 12, JEDFOREST 5. The other scoreline we have at the moment: Stumel 0, Watsonians 5 from National 1, and in East League 3 it's Inverleith 0, Hoyt Quins 17. Let's return to Goldenacre.
And you rejoin us here with Heriots possession just outside the Jed 10 metre line. The kick-off was taken and Jed cleared the lines, but it didn't go to touch, and it's given Heriots a platform from which to attack. The ex-Super 6 man Rory Steele. Ben Evans was fed there as a kick has been put through, but it's gone out on the full and do. Oh, and there's... Yeah, Robbie Hurston had something to say there to his opposite number, Oisin Quinn. You might say, Sam, that wasn't the best of sportsmanship?
That was... I'll be honest with you, that was so silly from Robbie Hurston there. You've just watched your opposite number kick the ball out completely on the full, gives you the attacking scrum just off the halfway line. Now they have a second chance at the kick. It's a penalty, so they're getting the ball back from the resulting line out if it does reach touch. That's like, you've got to learn how to control it, and you don't do it when the whole play's stopped and everybody's looking at you and the other player. That is just simple, we'll call it rugby knowledge.
Yeah, it was going to be a line out to Jed. It's now a penalty to Heriots for something out of the Joe Marler playbook, you might say there, by Robbie Hurston. The referee Kieran Stark certainly was not happy with that, nor were the Heriots crowd, but they have got what they were looking for from the referee. So it's going to be a Heriots penalty, 8 or 9 metres infield here on the Jed 10 metre line. Now there's an injury here which is forcing this break in play. It's Paulo Ferreira who's down, but he's back up now. Try scorer Ferreira, 6 tries for him so far this season. Slightly down, it would seem, on his last season's effort. 11 tries for the prop forward.
I know, but I mean, I'm not going to be complaining if my prop's scoring 6 tries already.
Absolutely not. The free scoring Paulo Ferreira is back up and good to go. So Heriots have gone to the touchline with the penalty, and it's going to be yet another Heriots line out. And again, that man Matthew Tower has found his man. Wee bit of a mix up in the Heriots midfield there with a planned move, but they maintain possession on the Jed 22. Thompson feeds Carmichael, and there's an outside break here. Heriots are over and Heriots are in. That was as clean as you like, Sam.
Yeah, and that was a great run by Ben Evans there, number 14 for Heriots. He's the one that dissected the line. Unfortunately, still had the full-back in front of him, but he offloaded it there, and I haven't seen the try scorer there. He's not turned around. He's quite far away from us.
Ross Thompson, the scrum half.
Oh, of course it was. He loves how to follow a line through, especially when he watches one of his backs make an attacking move. But no, that was great play there. It was swift hands, and like you say, Matthew Tower that started it all off again. Clean, accurate arrow right to hands. No flapping about from the line out, and they managed to get it out quickly. Yeah,
classic scrum half support line there from Ross Thompson. That takes the scoreline here at Goldenacre to Heriots 10, Jed 12. Kick to come, and it's as straightforward a conversion as you will see, given that Thompson dotted down under the sticks, and this time no mistake is made. So we are back level again. 27 minutes or so gone here at a sun-drenched, for this time of year at least, Goldenacre. So it's as even, Sam, as we thought it might be.
Yeah, and as we said at the very start, when you've got this relegation threat and worry on it, you're really trying hard, and then I think it shows how hard both these teams are playing today to make sure they don't lose a gap on the opposite number and they really keep the pressure on. Yeah, and both teams, of course, halfway to a try bonus, where, you know, every point at this stage of the season, given the predicament of these two teams, could be crucial. Gary Monroe has kicked off
Blake Ruffson there with a big tackle on the onrushing Heriots player just outside the Jed 22, but the player rode that and he's made some good ground. So here come Heriots again, and it's a pass out the back door to Steele. Now Steele's straightened and he's found a soft shoulder of Gregor Young. Now Steele's got man here. Steele has found Paul Christie. Paul Christie comes back inside and deep inside the Jed 22, but there's holding on there by Heriots, and that is a let-off for Jed.
That's a real worry sign for Jed there. The coaching staff are going to have to be looking at that, and I think Heriots were just wishing the pitch was about five yards wider, and then they would have been in under the field. But great running by Steele and great running by Christie there as well, to have the sense to come back inside and not get bundled into touch.
Yeah, and the penalty was 6 or so metres from the Jed line. The line out is going to be on the halfway line, which again, the boot of Gary Munro, he has been highly impressive so far this afternoon.
Yeah, I said Ross Thompson's the game manager and scrum half. In terms of a game management 10, there's not many better in this league than Gary Munro, and he has just been instrumental in keeping this team ticking.
Yeah, he's been tremendous so far. Equally good at 9, of course, and can play on the wing. That's been well taken in and off the top from Blake Roff, so it's back in the hands of Munro, and it's another cross kick similar to earlier in the half, but this time it's right down the throat of Rory Steele. So Steele takes it out with the 22, so he's going to have to run it, Steele, as he does, and he goes back in field to Craig Robertson, this free scoring winger, ex-Gala, ex-Scotland Rugby League. Now it's back with Bogle, the prop. Again though, Heriots starting to make ground with the carries, starting to win the collisions. Now they go again over on the far side, inching up over over their own 10 metre line. There's a blue and white wall from Jed, however, that looks in decent shape at the moment. Oh no, the referee initially signalled for what looked like a Heriots penalty, Sam. That's certainly the way that the arm went, but he's turned that round and it's now a penalty to Jed just outside the Heriots 22.
Yeah, I think he's pinged the Heriot forwards for not releasing there in the ruck, which, is a silly penalty to give away. You're not in a dangerous place. You're trying to just build some phases there and get some movement of the ball, but now, once again, we're camped back in just inside the Heriots 22.
Yeah, and Munro's played it reasonably safe there. He's put it down the touchline, and it's going to be a Jed line out right on the Heriots 22, so we've had several line outs on 22s so far this afternoon. Finlay Scott will be looking to match the accuracy of his opposite number, Matthew Toward, and he's found Gary Young right in the middle of that line out. So now a chance for Jed to break as they try and roll this one forward, inching into the Heriots 22. Reasonable crowd here at Goldenacre, it has to be said, but Jed's rolling maul starting to pick up a bit of pace there. Bambrick's now at the base of it. Bambrick finds Munro, who finds Gregor Young with his Heriots player over there. The odds came back on the Jed side. Now Bambrick fancies a snipe. Bambrick's round the corner, needs to find his support, and he's done that. He's presented it well, Bambrick. Now Wardrop has a snipe, as does Gary Young, and it's going to come back with Jed here. Clark Skeldon goes round the side, nicks another metre or two, and it's been presented again, and it's Wardrop again who tries to go. Playing it tight here, Jed. Halfway now between the Heriots 22 and the Heriots line, but now it's going to come out to the backs. Munro used Eurston as a decoy and went to Callum Young. Callum Young takes 2 or 3 men to drag him down and presents it well. So it's posts. Now it's out to Paulo Ferreira. Now beautiful offload from Ferreira to Blake Ruff. Oh, Blake Ruff had a man outside him. Has he butchered that? Lovely build-up play from Ferreira, and it was a good break by Ruff. He did have a man in support, but they've maintained possession, and it's Ferreira now who's rumbling towards the line. Great play by the big prop. He's been involved twice or thrice in this. Now Jed just inches from the Heriots line. Are they over the line? They're held up just short. It's going to come back again, however, on the Jed side. They're going to keep it tight here. They're over the line. What is the ref?
He's given a try.
He's given a try. There's a chat going on here. Is he going to speak to his assistants? No, it's a try. A try has been awarded, and I'm going to chalk that down to Paulo Ferreira again.
That one definitely was Paulo Ferreira, and not only was he the one that put the ball down over the line, he really set it up with that offload to Roth there. He took those 2 steps to commit those 2 defenders and managed to just put his arms through the gap and offload it to his right, and then Blake Roth will get you quite close to a try line, if not over it on most occasions, and then good tight pick and maul driving again, or pick and go driving again, and then as you see, Paulo Ferreira gets his try of the day.
Yeah, Paulo Ferreira received that 15 metres from the line, and you would imagine Paulo Ferreira to put his shoulder down and bash his way up, but that was almost Finn Russell v Argentina-esque. The beautiful drew the man over another man's shoulder, offloaded to the on-rushing Blake Roth, and a couple of phases later it's that man Ferreira that crashes over for his 7th try of the season, so he's now in reach of his 11 from last season as Finlay Scott lines up this conversion. 18 or so metres in from the far touchline here. Taking his time, Finlay Scott begins his run up. He struck it well, Scott, and it's through the middle, so another converted try to Jed, and that takes the scoreline to Heriot's 12, Jed 19, and Sam, that's 3 tries for Jed.
Yeah, and that is simple, and it really shows the respect that Ferreira commands in the ball carrying game, because 2 defenders straight away saw him and they thought, it's a big man, he's a powerful runner, it takes 2 to bring him down, but then it creates that space for players like Roth and Gary Young who can hit lines hard and really make changes to a game from that distance out. Yeah, great play by Ferreira all round, and that's good play by Gregor Young as well. Wasn't the best of restarts from Heriot's. It's given Jed fairly comfortable possession back as they look to exert their authority here with a 7-point advantage. Monroe chooses not to kick that one, looks for his runners, finds one. Oh, but that's been spilled forward in the contact by Jed, and maybe they'd have been better served clearing the lines, but Heriot's have got space over on the far side. The Jed defence scramble over. There's a big hit in there from Jed that's driven a player back a couple of metres, but Heriot's are going to reset this. Thompson at the base. He's got his second rowers, Jupp and Keogh as willing runners. Thompson again. Oh, but that's been fumbled by Heriot's and it's gone back the way. So they maintain possession, and has that been stolen by Jed? No, so Heriot's centre field, 35 metres from the Jed touchline, looking to build the phases and get their way back into this ding-dong of a game so far, and they're up now into the Jed 22. There's been a decent break there. Jed will do well to defend this, and Thompson again finds Jupp. Jupp, another good carry from him. Have Jed gone off their feet there? The referee again deems that to be okay. Now it's Bogle, the mulleted prop. Again, it's been set up, but there's a Jed player over the ball there, and the penalty has been given for holding on, and that's great defence, Sam, you have to say. That is great defence. It's great attacking play, but I think Heriots are just trying to do too much. It seems like they're trying to score off every phase of play. They're not prepared to take contact and just let it ride for a few phases, and then I think that was really summed up there. It was, I believe it was either O'Seen Quinn or Paul Christie, one of the centres, just tried one more offload, and that made it really scraggly. As you then said, there was a risk of players going off the feet because they had to dive to secure the ball, but that is a great turnover. I believe it was one of the back row for Jed that got their hands on that, but that was phenomenal. And there's another injury here for Jed. It's not a man you want to see down. Clark Skeldon, the skipper, who's really varied up his game so far. He's a 10-12 carries a game man, but he's varied up with some beautiful offloads. And then I'm going to be watching Rory Carmichael, the 10 for Heriots, over the next couple of minutes, because there's been a few times now he's received a pass from Ross Thompson, but he's always tried to catch it with just his right hand, so I wonder if he's maybe nursing a dislocated finger or a staved finger on his left hand, but as a 10 that could be catastrophic for your game plan, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on him just before half time. It's a good point, Sam. He has looked a wee bit shaky when receiving the ball.
And whilst that injury is happening, we'll just go over to Scremerson. It's Berwick against Boroughmuir in National 2.
Boroughmuir under sustained pressure and Nathan Melrose driving over. Jack Webster converting. Berwick 12, Boroughmuir 5.
Latest score updates. It's Emiraki's 14, Musselburgh 0 in the Premiership. 14 all now at Braidholme GHA. 14 Selkirk, 14 Bruce Riddle, and Welsh scoring tries for the Suitors. It's 12-19 to JEDFOREST. 3 tries on the board at Goldenacre. Will return there very shortly. In National 1, it's Stumel 5, Watsonians 19, Preston Lodge 7, Lasswade 7 is a score, and Dumfries 0, Peebles 3 in National 2. And the other scoreline we have for you at the moment is in East League 3, Inverleith 0, Hoyk Quins 24.
Skeldon is fine here at Goldenacre. So the penalty was put down the touchline by Monroe. It was taken off the top by Jed, and Jed are off and running here with Shira Gibb on this near side, and it's back in field to Callum Young, and Callum Young stole 10 metres. He finds his brother Gregor Young. Heriots are in over that, but Callum Young's done well to pass that out to Skeldon, who seems to have no ill effects from that injury, but it's been knocked on from Jed there. But Jed are looking dangerous almost every time they have the ball, Sam.
Yeah, and they've got, I love a workhorse winger. He's not one that scores a lot of tries, but Robbie Shearer Gibb, he does work and he covers ground. He got him about 15-20 metres there, because it started just inside their own half. We're now in between the 10 and the 22 of Heriots, but it's just consistent plays. They're winning purely on just keeping the ball, because it's as simple as it sounds. Opposition teams cannot score against you if they do not have the ball, and you have to think they'll keep this going into half time, and then they'll really just try and just kill the game off in the second half if they keep this lead. They'll obviously go for that fourth try to get that point, because in relegation the difference between 4 and 5 points is massive. Yeah,
and as we've heard there from Stuart, Edinburgh Accies 14 points to the good along the road here against Musselburgh, who sit bottom of the table. That's a big scrum from Jed. They've really got the shunt on. I fancied a penalty to come from that, but the referee is happy enough, and it's been brilliantly dealt with at the base by Ali Johnson, who's given his team a platform from which to exit here. And Jed have coughed up a cheap penalty, so that'll give Heriots a chance to get a bit of territory as we inch towards half time. And you mentioned the fact that Jed have got 3 tries. They absolutely, the fourth try will be in their sights.
Yeah, and they have to remember they've got a whole second half to get that as well. They don't need to force it.
Agreed.
You've got probably the best part of 42 minutes plus whatever gets added on at the end, whatever overruns, but it's going to be a close second half for Jed. But now Heriots really have to step the game up, because it's 7 points in the 7 point scoreline difference just now. It's not insurmountable, but it's a task that can get out of hand very quickly if you force it and keep coughing up the ball.
Yeah, we say it so often in these commentaries about the next try potentially being crucial, and if Jed get that, certainly if they convert it, then they're out to 14 points and they've won that line out, Jed. But it was fed back from Blake Ruff, or it was attempted to be fed back off the top almost to the scrum half, Aidan Bambrick, and a Heriots player encroached round and intercepted that little pass, but he was illegal in his actions, so it's a Jed penalty, and Monroe has sent that to 5 metres outside the Heriots 22, so another good attacking platform for a JEDFOREST outfit who have clearly come to play today. I seen them come off the bus and I chatted to a couple of them. They seemed like a team that were up for this task at hand today, and the line out has come in, but it's gone over the top. It's the first loose one from Finlay Scott. It was an overthrow. Didn't appear to be too much wrong with a lift and jump at the tail, so it's now Heriots' possession just outside their 22, and it's another decent carry there by the big second rower Maliki Keogh. Takes another 5 metres or so it's Heriots' possession, halfway between their own 22 and their own 10 metre line. Thompson at the base. Thompson again. They've looked for their forwards on numerous occasions rather than send it down the park. They obviously have a bit of confidence in the collision area, and again there's an example of why it's another good carry by a Heriots forward, but it's been put out into touch by Thompson. He's had enough of this first half. The first half is over here at Goldenacre, and if you're a Jed fan, then you're in fine fettle, because JEDFOREST lead this one, this crucial tie towards the foot of the Tennent's Premiership table by 19 points to 12. And what do you make of it so far, Sam?
I think there's probably going to be a few stern words in that Heriots changing room at half time, because they've shown the danger and they've shown the capacity to score tries in this game, but it's silly mistakes and it's forcing it, as we've said throughout this first half. And then like vice versa in the opposite changing room, there's going to be a lot of smiles on those Jed coaches' faces, but there's going to be a lot of stern words about this game can come back and it can cause us problems, so we just need to keep that focus. It's going to be an interesting 40 minutes coming up in this second half, and it's going to be a real ding-dong fight.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. We'll be certainly returning to Goldenacre a little bit later on. We're obviously here at the Green Yards covering Melrose against AYR today, which kicks off at 3 o'clock. A couple of latest scores for you. In fact, we can go to Scremerson. Here's Mickey Yanotta.
Berwick on top, and Aidan Rosie finishing off a flying move with his second try. Jack Webster again converting. Berwick 19, Boroughmuir 5.
In the Premiership, Curry 7, Glasgow Hawks 3. It's Embrackey's 14, Musselburgh 0. GHA and Selkirk sharing 28 points between them at the moment. 14 all there. Riddle and Welsh scoring for Selkirk. And as we've heard, it's now half-time at Goldenacre. It's Heriots 12, JEDFOREST 19. JEDFOREST getting 3 tries so far, looking for that bonus point. In National 1, it's now Stumel 12, Watsonians 19. National 2, Berwick 19, Boroughmuir 5, and that's just clicking on to a half-time score. So 19-5 to Berwick at the interval there at Scremerson. Dumfries 0, Peebles 3, and Preston Lodge 3, Lasswade 7. Also Inverleith 0, Hoyk Quins 24.
Hello, this is George Ingalls here, and I'm thrilled that my songs are now available on 2 albums, Anthology and Lockdown Blues.
Late in the evening, she's wondering what clothes to wear.
Both available on iTunes to download and stream.
I am the train, been gone since 69.
George Ingalls Anthology and Lockdown Blues. Check them out now on iTunes and other digital sites.
To commemorate the 7th anniversary of the opening of the Borders Railway, an 8 DVD box set is now available featuring the complete series Borders Railway from start to finish, plus the full hour-and-a-half documentary 5 Years On, which examines the possibility of an extension to Carlisle, plus extra features including a cab journey along the entire Borders Railway, all for the special price of just £14.99, including post and packing. You can get your copy direct from hotdisc.co.uk/shop. That's hotdisc.co.uk/shop. The 8 DVD box set, the complete Borders Railway, is available now.
Hi, Nicky Walker here, Curriculum Manager for Borders College Sport. Are you passionate about sport? If so, then look out for the return of our Borders College Rugby, Football and Hockey courses in early 2023.
Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
When the weather's dreich and a storm's a brewing, you need a strong, windproof, quality umbrella delivered with good old-fashioned customer service and at an affordable price. Up here in Umbrella Heaven, we say you tackle the ball, we'll tackle the weather. UmbrellaHeaven.com. Brave the storm.
This is Borders Rugby Special on Borders Rugby Radio.
Yes, we're here at the Green Yards live for Melrose against AYR, which is coming up at 3 o'clock, thanks to Robin and Sam down at Goldenacre. So just over 10 minutes away from kick-off here at the Green Yards. And earlier we caught up with the coaches from both AYR and Melrose to get their thoughts ahead of what could be a season-defining match for both of them. You're going to hear from David Courtney, the team manager of Melrose, but of AYR, should I say. But first of all, Melrose coach Bert Grigg. Well, Bert, they don't come any bigger than this one, do they?
No, certainly not. Look, I think everyone keeps referencing how close National 1 is this year, and although AYR have played a game more than us, sort of both of us sitting second and third, and yeah, really is a must-win today.
Now, how did the defeat at Gala affect the squad there? Because obviously it was a different squad completely to what you're used to, and it's a bit of a mix and match, and that's what makes the Waverley Cup really, really special. But it was still a big defeat.
Yeah, it was, and look, it's probably the best way we've described it over the week was a bump in the road, but it's been a positive bump, if that makes sense. It's made us reevaluate a few things and almost refocus the minds on the job at hand and the upcoming games that for the rest of the season, how important they are, and we can't afford another slip up like that, and just almost focused us that little bit harder. So that's a positive despite the result. And
a very strong looking squad that you've got today.
Yes, a few boys back, so club captain David Colvin back at 15 makes a massive difference, just that experience in the back three, and really Lindsay, who was a real big part of the first half of the season, been out for the last sort of 3-4 weeks, him coming back and going to bring an extra edge into that back row.
And again, looking at the front row, Jack Dobie, Ben McLean, Callum Crookshanks, that's very experienced.
Yeah, and then you've got Sandy Fairbairn and Will Owen off the bench as well. So, look, I feel like there's an opportunity for us there, especially with our front five, to get us some front football and let the backs do what they do on this pitch and have a good run about.
Unbeaten at home, 3G pitch as well.
Touch wood, yeah. So I was thinking about that the other day. Almost a year since I've taken over. The first game that we lost at home to Biggar in that time, so almost a year undefeated at home as well. So hopefully keep that going for this season, but just extend that run. And look, we've talked about that, making this a real difficult place for people to come to, and we've proved it so far this season.
Now, early in the season, you went to Millbrae, never an easy place to go, very partisan crowd, of course, and a pitch which is very, very different to here. You also had a red card for most of the match, and you ended up getting a try bonus and a losing bonus.
We did. I mean, we were 10 points up with 13 men. So after the red card, after 30 minutes, we then got 2 further yellow cards. So playing the game with 13 men, we were always going to be up against it, and look to come away with the couple of bonus points was a good result in the end, but also probably highlighted. Or a little bit of frustration at the end of it that we let it get away despite the red card and a couple of yellows.
So what's the mindset going forward into this particular match? Because obviously, as I say, you had the defeat over there, but you played well. Yeah. You were under the cosh for the match because of the red card, etc. You come here, a place you're very familiar with, the 3G pitch, very different surface that AYR won't have played on. No. They in fact, they lost it at Highland, I think, on that pitch as well. So a lot of positives to take out of this.
Yeah, there is. Funnily enough, they actually played the last week before Christmas on a 3G at home versus Stirling County, and you could see how it changed their game compared to their earlier games playing on grass. So look, it definitely changes their mindset, and it suits us and the way that we look to play. And it's certainly going to play to our strengths on a day like today.
An amazing rivalry between these two clubs. The history is fantastic.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like again, I know I keep harping on about it. I'm new into it and whatever else, but even I can feel that sort of rivalry. It's obviously two clubs that have been at the top of the game for as long as they have been. Now with the 2 Super 6 clubs, meaning that they're into National 1, both clubs pushing really hard to get into that Premiership where both of them could be. So yeah.
Well, we certainly wish you all the best for today. It's going to be a huge match in the scheme of things. Still, of course, 10 games to play. That's the thing. There's a lot of rugby left in this season, but we wish you all the best, and we'll talk to you later.
No, thank you, Stuart. Cheers.
Dave Courtney joining me at the back of the stands now. He's the Vice President and also Team Manager of AYR, and it's been quite a season for the boys so far.
We've went well after a slight hiccup against Highland in the first game, and then we had a battle against Kelso, which unfortunately went against us, but that happens. So
that was some match, wasn't it? Because we were obviously looking at the scoreline, thought you had it pretty well wrapped up, and then they came back at you.
Absolutely, we're 21-5 up at half time, but you know what Bruce McNeil's like, he can control a game, and chat a wee bit to the ref, so yeah, it was unfortunate. But take it on the chin, we'll move on. Yeah.
Now, of course, this is a very different pitch to Millbrae. You're 3G, of course, you didn't handle the Highland pitch too well. Is this something which concerns you today?
Not at all. We train on a 3G surface. We've got access to phenomenal facilities at UWS up in AYR. We played Stirling early on, just before Christmas, on that surface. So, no, we enjoy it, yeah. Yeah.
And of course, it's been a great season for you. You've been sort of coming up, getting those results in the last weeks leading up to Christmas as well. Now we've had the 4-week break. How's that kind of affected? Because you had this momentum, didn't you, going into Christmas?
Yeah. We were lucky. Obviously, with the frost, we managed to get Stirling, so a lot of teams didn't play that. I know some of you guys have been playing over the Boxing Day fixtures, etc. So, no, we've trained well this week, so we're coming in quite fresh. Yeah. So we're happy.
And of course, going back to that Kelso game again, you'll have learnt a lot from that.
Yeah, I think we have. Some of the boys are young still and they're learning, but yeah, that was a bit of a learning curve for some of them, yeah.
One thing, of course, by having the break, you get your injured players more or less back again as well. Are you pretty much at full strength today?
Yeah, we've got one chap still on holiday. One of our other boys is still a wee bit niggly, so he's going to hang off a wee bit. So we're 90% there, yeah.
And of course, looking at that back line, Jamie Bover stands out, Jack Anderson, Ross McCorkindale, fantastic scrum half as well.
Yeah.
They're your game players.
Yeah, Ross is very, very important for us. He's a very savvy young guy and a tough little cookie as well. And his service is coming on brilliant. Yeah, but Jamie, yeah, hopefully he'll kick his goals today. Yeah.
And of course, in the front row, people like Caleb Rain, Stuart Collier and Rory Sace as well. They know how to get ball for the backs.
Yeah, well, Rory's been there and done it, and he's been Super 6, etc. So, yeah, I'd like to think the back row, we're strong in the back row. So hopefully they'll do a bit of damage, yeah.
So what's the mindset now going into this one? And say the boys haven't played for a wee while. Melrose had that match at Waverley, lost to Gala. Obviously a different Melrose team today. But these are always great matches. Melrose against Ayr.
Always a good match, and it was very close up at Milbury early on. You guys had the red card early doors, which probably helped us massively, but it's always going to be tight. So, yeah. Who knows? It's that kind of league this year. You just don't know. You can't take anyone for granted.
And still 10 matches to go, of course.
Yeah, and this is a big one because you guys are 5 points behind, game in hand. So this is a big game. Yeah, this will set the next rest of the season and pretty much put it into perspective for us.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to it, and all the best to you boys as well.
Thank you very much. Cheers now. Bye.
There we are. That's Dave Courtney from Ayr and Bert Grigg of Melrose as well talking to me earlier. There's certainly been some great clashes between the two clubs over the years, and no doubt we'll have another epic encounter in a few minutes' time. But let's go to Poynter Park. It's Kelso against Biggar today. Andrew Fleming waiting for us.
Yes, welcome to a sunny but blustery Poynter Park where league leaders Kelso welcome 6th place Biggar. The home side will be looking to maintain their fine form, which has seen them lose just once this season, winning 4 in the spin before the Christmas break. They currently sit level on points with 2nd place Ayr, but with a game in hand. Despite having already lost more matches this season than they did in the whole of the promotion push last campaign, Biggar still come into this match with plenty of belief, having won 7 from 12, including 5 away wins on the bounce. Head coaches Kevin Utterson and Bruce McNeil have made 3 changes to the Kelso starting 15 from the win over Aberdeen Grammar a month ago. In the pack, Grant Shields returns to the front row in place of Charlie Marshall, and Liam Tate makes his first start of the season at blindside, with Kevin Dryden dropping to the bench. Just the one change in the back line with the return of Angus Roberts to the left wing, meaning Nick Stingall drops back into fullback in place of Greg Ponton. We should be in store for an exciting 80 minutes of rugby. It's Kelso versus Biggar. Kick-off here is at 3 p.m.
Thank you very much indeed. Over at Netherdale, it's Gala who are taking on Dundee. Alan Lorimer.
Gala will want to start 2023 in the way they finished last year by posting a winning performance over 7th place Dundee in today's Tennis National 1 match at Netherdale this afternoon. The Maroons go into this game buoyed by their Boxing Day win over Melrose that did much to put behind them their recent defeats in the National League. These setbacks dropped Gala to 4th place in National 1, and with a 17-point gap between them and leaders Kelso, few would bet on the Netherdale side clawing back lost league points. But there are still 10 rounds remaining in the championship, and who can say what will happen? Gala field a strong team today, and especially so in midfield, where they are 10, 12, 13 trio and as good as any in National 1 and indeed in the Premiership. And with Scotland under 20 places up for grabs, there'll be a focus on Harris Rutherford at standoff and Murray Wilson at outside centre. So a good game in prospect, and one that Gala will need to win if they are to have any hope of making a late challenge for the title.
Thank you, Alan. Let's go to Inverleith against Hoyt Quins. It's 31-0 at the break. Hugh Brown is there.
Hoyt Quins have scored 5 tries in the first half of this match as Inverleith, meaning they're on easy streets and had the bonus point secured within the half. Ross Aitken opened the scoring in 10 minutes, followed 2 minutes later by Neil Douglas. It was skipper Adam Hall who made it try number 3, and on the half hour, Murray Rennick went under the sticks for number 4. And then just on the half hour, it was James Delaney, number 13 for Hoyt, who made it 5 tries and that bonus point I mentioned. So at half-time at Inverleith, it's Inverleith 0, Hoyt Quins 31.
OK, I think the time has come. We're just half a minute away from kick-off. It's Ayr against Melrose here at the Green Yards. Here's your commentary team, starting with Bruce Millar.
Thank you, Stuart. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Green Yards. We're about a minute away from kick-off here in National League Division 1. Ayr out on the paddock, this artificial surface, and the home side Melrose come out now, and the two sides in good form. Ayr suffered an opening day loss to Highland up in Inverness, but they've only lost once since, a 22-21 reverse against league leaders Kelso in November, and they sit tied with Kelso on 53 points at the top of the table, although Ayr have played 1 game more. Melrose, they lost their opening 2 of their opening 3 fixtures, including a 35-31 loss at Milbury against today's opponents in round 3, but they've since gone on a 9-game winning streak, including a 16-14 victory over league leaders Kelso, and they now sit 5 points adrift of the leaders. So expect both of these sides to throw the kitchen sink at each other today. This is a game which may well see the losing side locked out of the title race. Neither side can really afford to lose this one, and it's Melrose who will get us underway on a well-judged kick from a Melrose point of view, ill-judged perhaps by tight head, Rory Sace. Allowed that one to bounce. It's gone into touch on the stand side of the pitch, midway between the Ayr 22 and 10 metre line. A good throw by Collier, finds his captain Cameron Rees in the middle of the Ayr line out. And back it will come to Ross McCorkindale, sends that one high and long down the stand side touchline. Well judged though by James Brown on the left wing today for Melrose. Quick ball for Colvin at 9, little ball out the back, unexpected, but it's been tidied up there by Struan Hutchison, and Melrose go wide quickly, and a better pass that would have been good if it found the hands of Makowski. The ball goes loose, ball knocked on by Melrose, and it will be a put into Ayr to the scrum on the far side of the pitch and just outside that Melrose 22.
Good play there from Melrose. They fielded the ball pretty well. James Brown getting the ball in the back field, able to set the platform, and you can see the benefits of Melrose having three playmakers in there. They've got Struan Hutchison at 10, Luke Townsend got the ball through his hands quickly there. They've also got Donald Crawford, but it was Makowski on the far side, just couldn't gather the ball. They started bubbling about, and Ayr almost capitalised through their winger Kieran Wood, but not able to pick it up and go in for the score. But Melrose looking pretty steady, but Ayr certainly looking to come out with a lot of intent early on.
First real chance then for Ayr to attack from the scrum out on their left-hand touchline, and a little bit lethargic if you like, but carried into contact by Jamie Bova, their experienced inside centre, and out to Rory Anderson. Now the outside centre takes it into contact, but dealt with well by Elliot Ruthven, the 7 jersey on for Melrose, and his opposite number seemed to drop that one, Rohan Potty. The referee says play on, and well, no, he does come back. It's a clear knock on by the Ayr open side, so Melrose survive.
You could perhaps let them away with that there, just a bit of ring rust perhaps from the long absence from playing rugby, but it was an unforced error by Rohan Potty. He looked to just gather the ball standing and then get a bit ahead of steam into the heart of the Melrose defence, but not able to gather it. But even there, Bova, you were saying it was pedestrian, Bova got the ball off the back of that scrum, but young Luke Townsend was really flat-footed in defence. He took it to him. The defensive line was pretty slow in coming up for Melrose. So Bova got a good run up, able to make some yards and get in behind the gain line, but just not able to capitalise off the third phase there when it was a knock-on from Ayr.
He's been around Milbury for a while. Bova, I think, made his debut back in 2016. Scored a hat-trick against Curry, if I remember right. Bit of an injury here. Let's take the chance to have a quick look through the sides. The home side in the front row, Jack Dobie, Ben McLean alongside captain Callum Cruikshanks. In the second row, it's a pairing of Thomas Brown and Ross McConnell. In the back row, Will Ferry, Elliot Ruthven and Rory Lindsay. Half backs are Bruce Colvin and Struan Hutchison, Townsend and Donald Crawford in the centres, and the wings Harry Makowski and James Brown, and at full back David Colvin. We'll bring the Ayr side just shortly, but it will be Melrose to feed the scrum just outside their 22 and just to the left of the posts, but they have the whole back division strung away across to the right. You'd expect a kick here, but perhaps an opportunity for Melrose to play away here. In it will come though from Bruce Colvin. That's a good scrum by Melrose. It turns round to the right. The referee playing an advantage, awards the penalty to Melrose, and an easy way to escape from your own zone.
Yeah, definitely. It was an interesting setup on the backs as well, but when you've got a front row with Dobie, McLean and Cruikshank in there, especially in behind they've got the likes of Thomas Brown and McConnell, it's a really, really solid tight five, and flexing their muscles earlier on, because Ayr do have a really capable front row as well. They've got a big burly front row, but Melrose making light work of it.
Well, the Ayr front row is Caleb Ray, Stuart Collier and Rory Sace. Captain Cameron Reef in the second row alongside Seth Ray. In the back row, Michael Kirk, Rohan Potty and Pete McCallum. We've got Ross McCorkindale and Jack Anderson at half back. Jamie Bova and Rory Anderson in the centres, and John Fulton, Kieran Wood and Scott Watson make up the back three, but it's Melrose to throw in on the Ayr 10 metre line, taken cleanly and off the top, whipped away out along that back line. Good hands there, lovely offload, and it's number 8 Rory Lindsay crashing through there, and he finds his fullback David Colvin out in that right corner, scores in the policeman's corner. First blood to Melrose in this one, and lovely light and break by Rory Lindsay. In fact, as that ball being lost.
Yeah, I think the referee is saying it's been held up because that would have been an excellent try, but the referee just signalling. I just seen his arm never went up, and the referee signaling it's been held up. So great cover in defence. I think it was John Fulton, who was one of the players that was across, able to hold David Colvin up because he was in for what would have been a certain score, but great defensive work from there.
What a line break by Rory Lindsay, the number 8. Come on, a fantastic lick. Picked a good line and clean through the middle. Found Colvin, but no score. So it's Melrose then in possession though from the goal line dropout, and Colvin just threads that one through. Tidied up by AYR. Well, no, it's been charged down, and this could work for Townsend. The ball beats him into touch. Look, Townsend on the spot there. But AYR really struggling to get themselves out of their own 22.
A good charge down there from James Brown, the left winger for Melrose, and Townsend just not able to get the ball. But back to your point about Rory Lindsay, he's returning to the squad from injury. He reminds me a lot of Sam Derrick. Last year he was playing that one. He stepped up to the Southern Knights and shone out really, really well. I think Rory Lindsay's of a similar ilk. I think he's a really good ball carrier. He's abrasive with the ball in hand, but you can see his pace that he's got. He just scythed through that defensive line, made good yardage, and a great pass as well to David Colvin. Just not able to capitalise on that pass and get the score, but they're camped back down in the AYR 22, and they're piling on the pressure.
Treatment again to one of the AYR players. Could have been, was it Pete McCallum perhaps, the number 8. But either way, seems okay. So it'll be AYR to throw in to the line out, about 10 metres out from their try line on the stand side of the pitch. 5 players in that line out. The referee this afternoon, Scott Cubitt, not happy with that. He comes back and not make much of a mark on the 3G surface. It tells the players where he wants them. And AYR set up at the front and move to the middle. Melrose get a hand in there, and it comes back on the Melrose side. It's Elliot Ruthven. Crashes into contact. So another great attacking opportunity here. It's Callum Cruikshanks, the captain. Tight head prop takes it into contact now. Round the corner come the forwards. Dobie, the other prop, carries a bit high but makes good ground. A little bit slow ball here for Bruce Colvin. Once again, uses the forwards. 5 metres or so away from that AYR try line now, working their way across towards the posts. The whole of the Melrose side strung away across to the right, and another great line picked there by Melrose. Stopped a metre or so short. In fact, they're over that try line this time. The referee's arm does go up. It is a try for the home side. Let's see who has got up last. I think it is James Brown, the left winger, who's gone over in a pile of bodies. He's the man taking the congratulations of his teammates there. It's Melrose 5, AYR 0.
Yeah, I wonder what he was even doing there. I was about to send out a search and rescue party, because the left winger in a cluster of bodies, you expected it to pop up and be a forward there, but the left winger showing a lot of hard work off of his wing and getting himself in the mixer to get on the end of that score. But it is what Melrose deserve after the opening few minutes here. The opening 5 minutes in this game have been all Melrose. They've come out with a lot of intent, and you can see how much it means to them to try and make a real impact in this game to keep on the coattails of Kelso in the league.
So James Brown with the opening try of the afternoon for the home side. David Colvin makes no mistake adding the extras just from the right hand side of the post there, and a healthy 7-0 advantage to the home side after the opening 7 minutes.
Great start from Melrose. I think they'll have felt a bit hard done by after losing that opening score that got well defended by AYR, but they do make it count eventually and take the points after what's been an extended period of pressure from the home side.
So AYR then with the restart, playing from left to right as we watch from the above the stand here, and taken well above his head by Elliot Ruthven there. Skips through the first tackle, takes play just outside the Melrose 22, 5 metres in from the stand side touchline, and Bruce Colvin just sends that one straight back to his half-back partner Stuart Hutchison, but that one comes further infield than he would have liked, and the ball dropped off to Cameron Rees, the AYR captain, travelling at a rate of knots there, quickly recycled, but a loose pass finds its way out to Scott Watson, the AYR full-back on the other side of the pitch. They are certainly moving this Melrose defence around. Caleb Ray takes it into contact, and then out behind the first line of attack for AYR. Finds its way out once again into the 15-metre channel on the stand side of the pitch. It comes bobbling out the breakdown there. Loose ball just shovelled back, but the referee said Melrose players off their feet. Well, for a second it looked like John Fulton was going to have a go there. I'm not sure his teammates would have been particularly happy with him if he had done that, because it's a good position here, and AYR, you would imagine the team they aren't will just stick this one in the corner.
Yeah, they're just going to nudge it in the corner, but I wasn't buying that from here. It looked like he was going to do the old school, put the ball down, pretend to take it quickly and try and catch the defence unawares, but he just was a bit keen there, and the AYR have done exactly that. They've popped it in the corner and they're going to have a try from the line out and try and put a bit of pressure back on Melrose.
So Melrose with a bit of defending to do now, leading by 7 points to 0. AYR have taken that one cleanly, and they've got their maul from the line out, heading just about in the right direction here. 7 or 8 metres in from the touchline. Melrose have taken that one down, and the referee says legally. Can perhaps hear the shouts from the stand down below us there, congratulating that Melrose side. Managed to kill that one, and that'll be turnover ball.
And Elliot Ruthven should be getting a pat in the back there, because it was his hard work. He just managed to stay in the right place legally as well, got round on the AYR side and really stopped the ball coming back, where AYR had no option other than to try and go to ground and get the ball back, but Elliot Ruthven was latched on, he wasn't moving, and it was great defensive play from the driving maul there from Melrose, and especially that young man Elliot Ruthven.
Yeah, the Melrose open side has shown up well in the early stage of this game on both sides of the ball. So Melrose will again look for that solid scrum platform that they had in the earlier scrum. Well, no, the decision has gone the other way. The referee, I think, speaking to Callum Cruikshanks on the right hand side of that Melrose scrum, says he's gone down. Maybe lost his footing, and either way, the ball just given straight back to AYR, and they will just kick this one out. They're 5 metres out from that Melrose try line, so they'll just kick that one out sideways, and once again they've got the line out to attack from.
Yeah, and they'll have to try something maybe a little bit different this time, because Melrose certainly look like they're capable of defending a driving maul, and we'll see what happens here.
Well, Melrose went up there, so a little bit dangerous. They've managed to, for now, bring that AYR maul to a halt. Well, they now get some go forward. The referee playing an advantage. Can they get themselves over that try line? They're certainly very close. Up goes the referee's arm, awards the try to AYR, and AYR have responded 2 or 3 minutes after that opening Melrose try. It's Melrose 7, AYR 5.
And it's Stuart Collier, the hooker, with the try, and you know how many times do we see it, that a team kick to the corner, the hooker just latches on in the back of that maul and just drives it forward, and he was in the right place. Also, John Fulton came into the maul to add a little bit more weight, a little bit more pressure to that attacking play, and AYR replies straight away. And you know, and that is the danger of these games. AYR, for the opening 10 minutes of this game, have looked second best, and all of a sudden they come into life, they get a bit of pressure and they take their opportunity when it counts in the corner, and Bova's got the chance to try and add the extras.
Yes, Jamie Bova with the kick, about 9 metres or so, I'm guessing, in from the stand side touchline. It's a tougher kick than the earlier one. David Colvin converted the James Brown try. It's a big solid traditional looking inside centre, certainly catches that one nicely. Well, they always had the distance, absolutely hammered that and clean through the middle of the uprights. A good conversion. It's all square, 7 apiece.
Yeah, and I think it's it shows what these type of games are like. AYR Melrose has been, historically over the last few years, has been a huge match-up in Scottish Club Rugby, and it's shown exactly the same again. Both teams not giving an inch in these opening 12 or 13 minutes of this game.
It's Melrose then, a wobbly looking restart, but not the easiest to take. It's Cameron Rees, the AYR captain, who carries into contact just midway between his own 22 and 10 metre line, and then out into the midfield go the Millbrae side through number 8 Pete McCallum. He's stopped well though, and back it goes, and they'll just send this one long down the middle of the field, taken by fullback David Colvin. He carries that forward and puts boot to ball. AYR with a couple of men back, including Ross McCorkindale, the scrum half. A couple of side steps there just to set himself up for the kick, and finds a good touch just down in front of us above the stand. Bruce Colvin, McCorkindale's opposite number, having a quick word with the referee, but that is a fantastic clean kick by the scrum half.
Yeah, I like him as a scrum half. He's a wiry little 9, but you can show that he's got a good boot on him as well. He's got the wind at his back, so it's obviously taking a little bit of it's added to his clearance kick there, but it's the angle, it's the awareness that he had players on rushing as well, to make sure he's got a good connection with that, get it downfield and try and flip the pressure back onto the home side.
So Ben McLean gets his instructions from Jack Dobie for this Melrose line out. A little bit of movement, it goes to the middle, a good take there by Will Ferry. However, squint throw by McLean, which just heaps the pressure back on his side. It'll be AYR well, of the choice of the line out of the scrum. Looks like they're going to take the scrum 15 metres in from the stand side touchline. Again, a good attacking opportunity just midway between Melrose 22 and 10 metre line.
Yeah, and the referee just having a little conversation with the two front rows, because obviously it was a dominant first scrum from Melrose. The second one, a little faux pas from Callum Cruikshank, gave the penalty which led to the try for AYR. So the referee just, Scott Cubitt, just laying down the law to both front rows, asking for a clean set piece here, as the AYR scrum half just loiters beside the referee, ready to put the ball into the scrum. This will be an interesting set piece.
Well, it's McCorkindale, the AYR scrum half, who essentially got his side disposition with that clearing kick, and he feeds it out into the midfield. Jamie Bova had to wait on that one, and a bit of a muddle. Eventually goes out the back to Jack Anderson, his fly half. It was quite what AYR had in mind, and Pete McCallum with an injection of pace and power there, just about evading the clutches of, it was Elliot Ruthven again making the tackle, but still AYR in possession outside that Melrose 22. Bring play back across towards the stand side again. A nice flat pass by Bova, and finds John Fulton on the right wing today for AYR. Still just outside the Melrose 22. Back again from McCorkindale. This time it's Rory Sace carries into contact. That Melrose defence looking solid. Come up as a line, nice flat pass again, but couldn't be taken under pressure by Michael Kirk there. Knock on by the big number 6 out in the midfield, and the chance for Melrose to exit through the scrum.
And they're looking to AYR are looking to really test Townsend and Crawford in the centres. They're throwing that big wide ball, not trying to hit their targets pretty tight. They're looking to really move it a little bit further out, hit the big runners up in midfield, and really congest that defensive area, because, you know, I think in terms of the battle, AYR historically would have a bigger pack. They would be able to bully teams, but they don't really have the benefit of that against Melrose, because they've got a big pack and they've also got, you know, skillful backs. What they probably do have is they've got a bigger back line, a more powerful back line, that they can really try and test this this Melrose defence out.
Yeah, the Packs has been fairly eeksy-peeksy. Melrose got the upper hand in the first scrum, and they seem to have a bit of go forward there. The referee, well, it did turn, but the referee said it was not worthy of a penalty. Went up on the right hand side, that Melrose scrum, which is exactly what happened, I think, in the first scrum of the game when they won the penalty. But this time the referee says we'll just reset.
Okay, we'll just come in there because we're going down to Goldenacre. There's some scores in Heriots against JEDFOREST.
Yes, you join us here, Stuart. It is Heriots 19, Jed 27 just after half time. Gary Monroe with a lesser spotted drop goal, but Heriots hit back with a try from substitute hooker Danny Deneen, which was converted by the experienced Graham Wilson, who's came on. But Jed have since brought up the bonus point try. Aidan Bambrick crashing over after good work, but just as you say that, Heriots are in for a try, and that looks like the free scoring Craig Robertson, no less. So that will take us to what? That will take us to Heriots 24, Jed 27, kick to come, and that is also a Heriots bonus.
There we are, thank you very much indeed from Robin Purdie down at Goldenacre. Latest scores we have for you: Curry 17, Glasgow Hawks 12 in the Premiership, 21-0 to Enbrackies now against Musselburgh. GHA 17, Selkirk 21, Heriots Blues, as we've just heard, 24, JEDFOREST 27, and it's Mar 7, Hoyk 14 at Fullerton.
We're approaching the midway point of the first half here in National League Division 1. Melrose 7, AYR 7, and from the penalty it is a Melrose throw-in to the scrum on the AYR 10 metre line. No mistake this time, with a good throw from Ben McLean off the top of that line out and quickly out into the midfield through Luke Townsend. Then the forwards coming around the corner. Dobie trying to offload there, forced it perhaps to Thomas Brown, couldn't be taken cleanly, and away come AYR through Bova. Tries to kick it, didn't catch that one cleanly. Ends up in a bit of a mess with John Fulton, the winger, making something akin to a tackle. It's still Melrose in possession, and Thomas Brown didn't know an awful lot about that one, but tidies the ball up for Melrose. And it's centre field. And Melrose will look to just send this one long through Struan Hutchison. 3 men in the backfield for AYR. And they'll just again send it long through Ross McCorkindale. We've seen what he can do when he puts boot to ball. And the two Colvins crash into each other there. Bruce Colvin going backwards, David Colvin coming forward, and Bruce Colvin, I think, rightly left it for David but couldn't get himself out the way. Colvin took it cleanly, but I think that will be an accidental offside there, maybe a little bit harsh, but the referee judging that prevented one of the AYR players making the tackle on Colvin. And once again, Ayr find themselves with an attacking opportunity just inside the Melrose half on the stand side of the field.
Yeah, I think it was harsh, but I think Bruce Colvin definitely knew what he was doing. He was aware of his position on the park. He was very aware of his brother David coming back from his fullback position to gather that ball, and also the on-rushing Ayr defence. He looked to just get himself in a position that he couldn't really move away from, and the referee has adjudged that to be an accidental offside. But certainly the experience of Bruce Colvin shown there, but just not getting the rub of the green from the referee on this occasion.
So Melrose making a bit of a mess of that Ayr scrum, but the referee says play on as Pete McCallum picks up and tries to remedy the situation. Cameron Rees, the captain, the second row, and acting as scrum half again. A bit of a muddle in midfield. Jamie Bova not looking entirely sure who to pass it. Need to maybe sort that out Ayr. But Ross McCorkindale forced to put boot to ball and sends that into the Melrose 22. A couple of bounces of the ball before James Brown, Melrose try scorer, can get his hands on that ball. Next 10 metre or so, and back it goes to Struan Hutchison. Again, weighing up his options, cuts back inside, but the referee saying a high tackle in fact there. And Bruce Colvin, I was going to say he's not hanging around, took the quick one there. The referee says not from the spot. Again, I'm not entirely sure he was meaning to do that.
Yeah, I think he'll be glad he'd been brought back, because he didn't have a lot of support in the stand side and he might have had to go it alone. But it just shows that Melrose want to play at that tempo, and now their defensive line is coming up a lot quicker as well. They're really, really narrow in defence, but they're coming up a lot quicker, which you say they're getting, it's becoming a bit disjointed in midfield, and the Ayr attacking play is kind of running aground slightly. When it gets to Bova, that is because the defensive line is up, cutting out his options, and they're not even looking to try and put that ball a little bit further out and float it past the defensive line and check them. The defensive line from Melrose is up so quick that it's Bova's decision's already made, and a lot of the time he's having to keep the ball and carry.
So just over 20 minutes played here at the Greenyards. Still 7 points apiece. Melrose to throw into the line out. And, fingertip stuff from Elliot Ruthven there. It does come back on the Melrose side. He couldn't take it cleanly. In come the hands there from Michael Kirk. The big Ayr blindside does great work. The referee was going to award the penalty, but instead just allows him to play on. Ball turn over, however, thrown out into the midfield, picked off by Luke Townsend, who goes in under the posts, and the try is awarded by the referee. Ayr hands on heads, I think wondering how the advantage was over there. And you can see McCorkindale going over to have a word with the referee, but the referee will not be persuaded now. He's awarded the try to Melrose. Luke Townsend with the interception. It's Melrose 12, Ayr 7.
It'll be brilliant to hear that conversation back between the referee and the Ayr players, because he's just explained exactly why he awarded that. I thought there was a penalty, I thought there was an advantage there, and the referee Cubitt did look to the touchline to try and maybe look for some support from an assistant referee, but obviously at this level you do not get the support from an AR. We don't have them at National 1, so it was a try, and it was brilliantly read by Luke Townsend there, and grasping his opportunity at 12 as well. Obviously Mitch Richardson's been 12, he's been an absolute revelation for Melrose, off to pastures new, and Luke Townsend grasping his opportunity there, and he just watched that flight of the ball, grabbed it, and then he had open Purdie to run into and got the score.
He was travelling at a rate of knots when he caught that one as well. No easy task for Luke Townsend. He adds to James Brown's earlier try. 2 conversions from David Colvin, and Melrose have re-established that 7 points advantage. Sandwiched between those two Melrose tries, the Stuart Collier one from the line out drive from the visitors. Jamie Bova adding the extras there. That's Melrose then in possession. Nice little offload and interplay there between the two Melrose flankers, Elliot Ruthven and Will Ferry. The ball though being lost, Jamie Bova quickly feeds it out there to Ayr left winger Kieran Wood. And the challenge at the breakdown there by Melrose. And now which side will this come out on? It was knocked on in fact by Melrose, but the referee was playing an advantage. So he will come across back towards the midfield. Pete McCallum having a quick word with him. Comes across to, just to the right of the uprights. Ball was knocked on by Melrose. It'll be an Ayr scrum.
Let's quickly go to Pounder Park. Andrew Fleming.
14 minutes on the clock, and it's Kelsey who draw first blood as Bruce McNeil emerges from a pile of bodies with the ball for his 10th try of the season. Converted by Dwayne Patterson. Kelsey 7, Biggar 0.
Yeah, it was. Defensively, you were saying there, Bruce, from a Melrose point of view, they were pretty strong, and it made Ayr really try and force it. And again, the defensive line coming up that quick, that the overlap they just cannot utilise and try and evade that space.
So it's Ayr with an attacking scrum, almost centre field. 4 players away off to the left, 2 to the right, but they pick and go right, an 8-9, and then they've got the full back and the winger down this stand side touchline, but dealt with well. It was Scott Watson that had
made the break, but he was dragged down, recycled by Ayr, and in goes McCorkindale. He's playing through the forwards here. Ayr reset on the right hand side and the short side, but again go out into the midfield. Smothering tackle made there by one of the Melrose players. Play just inside that Melrose 22 and back to the right hand side now come Ayr. Short line by Cameron Rees, keeping things tight to the breakdown. Round the corner again come the forwards. Caleb Ray, he's got Rowan Potty with him. Instead away they go to the left. And that's good play by Ayr through the hands this time. Take play just 5 metres or so in from the other touch line. In come Melrose again just to try and disrupt the breakdown, but still Ayr in possession. Melrose doing their best just to keep them at bay here, but the referee playing an advantage once more. Thrown rather untidily out from the breakdown, but tidied up by Michael Kirk. And the Melrose defence strung along their own 22. Again, Jamie Bova getting hands on the ball out to Scott Watson. And he's got John Fulton with him. He doesn't use him and he's dragged down 5 metres short of that Melrose try line. Pick and go round the corner this time by Seth Ray in the second row. And then there's the other second row. Nice little tip on to Caleb Ray. Ayr 3 or 4 metres short now of that Melrose try line. Melrose 14, Ayr 7. And that crossfield kick this time. There's nobody at home there for Melrose. If this can be gathered by Ayr, they will go over. Fantastic take, plucked from the air there. I think by Kieran Wood, the left winger for Ayr. Melrose just run out of numbers, couldn't quite get anybody across there. And Kieran Wood rose and took the kick. Sent across by his scrum half, Ross McCorkindale. He's been very good putting boot to ball this afternoon. And it's Ayr once again with the reply. Their second try of the afternoon. Melrose 14, Ayr 12.
Attacking wise from Ayr there, it was just a little bit different. They were able to, instead of just putting the ball through the hands and trying to get it to their speedsters out wide, it was actually Scott Watson who hit an acute line back in to check the defence. That meant they got in behind the Melrose defensive line and they kept the tempo high after that. They had a penalty advantage coming as well when they went round the corner. They went again, penalty advantage came, and it was great awareness from McCorkindale to see that they had acres of space in the top corner here at the Green Yards, and he just put a great crossfield kick from the outside of the boot to his winger Kieran Wood, who managed to jump higher than the covering defence, grab it and go in for a score.
That's a tricky conversion for Bova. But again, he gives that one absolutely everything. He's certainly going to, I think he could kick them for absolutely anywhere on the field, but that's 2 from fairly tricky positions to the side, and that levels the score. Once more, 14-all.
And that is the difficulty that, we've said it before, but in this game, when these games are tight, Ayr are not playing well, but they're still drawing. It's 14 points all. We've played about 26, 27 minutes here, and they've looked second best in most facets of the game, but they're still level, and that's what makes these games so interesting. It's managing to keep your error count low and try and stay in touch and distance, and Ayr have managed to do that in the opening exchanges of this game.
Well, Captain Cameron Rees unable to take that one from the restart. Himself off the ground and to the ball before anybody else, but the ball bounced off his chest. So a knock on and a scrum here for Ayr. For Melrose, sorry, you're right, Dale, that the Ayr certainly not at their best, but Ross McCorkindale has been excellent, and particularly when he puts boot to ball. I think it was he who got the position from a clearing kick, from which Ayr eventually scored their first try from that line out drive, and then the crossfield kick there for Kieran Wood's try. He's standing alongside his opposite number, Bruce Colvin, who's away here. Referee awards a free kick from the scrum. Couldn't be taken cleanly. Referee says no knock on. So it's Melrose now just outside that Ayr 22. Can they reply once again? It's 2 tries apiece, 14-all. A great attacking position here for the home side. Over on the far side of the pitch as we watch from above the stand here at the Green Yards, and again out behind the forwards. But the Ayr defence come racing through that first line of attack, and they've turned that one over. And once again, it's Ross McCorkindale who sends a long kick down the stand side touchline, just bounces into position, almost identical in fact to that earlier clearing kick midway between the Melrose 10 metre and 22. And Melrose will be disappointed with that.
Yeah, I think because they looked like they had numbers up, but the defensive pressure this time from Ayr managed to, really isolate Luke Townsend. He took the ball not too deep, but it was eventually too deep because of the defensive pressure that came from Ayr. They isolated them, they hounded on the ball, they stole it back, and it looked like they were almost illegally going to do it, but they managed to just steal the ball back, clear their lines, and kick downfield.
OK, let's go to Netherdale. It's Gala against Dundee. Here's Alan Lorimer.
With 24 minutes gone, Gala are leading 12 points to 3 against Dundee, with tries from winger Ben Gill after 9 minutes and a second one by skipper Liam Scott. Score at the moment, 12-3 for Gala.
Well, it's 14 apiece here at the Greenyards. And 2 tries apiece, James Brown and Luke Townsend for Melrose, Stuart Collier and Kieran Wood for Ayr. It's, well, the referee, where is he off to? He's just trotting all the way back to that Ayr 22. There's a bit of treatment to one of the Ayr forwards.
OK, that gives us an opportunity to go down to Goldenacre. It's Heriots playing JEDFOREST. Here's Robin Purdie.
Yeah, and it's now Heriots 24, Jed 30 since we last spoke. Finlay Scott has banged over a penalty from 35 metres, but Heriots now in possession in the Jed half. Not long to go here. Nerve jangling stuff at Goldenacre. It is Heriots 24, Jed 30.
Oh, we've lost him, but Jed 30, I think I can fill in the missing line there. Premiership, it's 28-10 to Curry over Glasgow Hawks at the moment. Edinburgh Accies 21, Musselburgh 0 is the latest score. GHA 17, Selkirk 21, and Mar 10, Hawick 17.
Ben McLean then to throw into the Melrose line out. Ayr went up at the front, couldn't quite get fingertips to that one. And away comes Rory Lindsay, the Melrose number 8. Bruce Colvin just waits in the forwards, coming round the corner there. A little look to his right by Callum Cruikshanks, the captain. Ball being lost again. Terrible ball retention by Melrose in the last 5 minutes or so, and it's Ayr once again on the attack as they ship play out to their left flank. Jamie Bova just straightens, makes a metre or two, but dealt with well by the Melrose defence. And they think there's a bit of a gap down the left hand side of that breakdown, but loose play by Ayr allows, is that Townsend, I think, to come away with Donald Crawford to come away with that one. Rather went sideways and tackled by the Ayr defence, and maybe a better decision by Melrose to kick this one. Doesn't find touch. 4 men in the backfield for Ayr. Bova sends that one high into the Melrose sky, and Colvin can't take that one cleanly. No knock on though, he's managed to regather it. Tidies up his mistake, the Melrose fullback, and Jamie Bova on hand, having a quick word with the referee, but that didn't look like a knock on. And Melrose try once again an escape from their 22. Bruce Colvin again out to Dobie, who's chop tackled. One of the Ayr players doesn't look too clever there. Think of a bit of a sore one. Once again that ball has been turned over. Melrose just cannot keep a hold of it. And just inviting this Ayr attack onto them. And there's space on that left flank if they can get the ball out there. Ayr a little bit untidy. Neither side seems to want to keep a hold of the ball, so it's Melrose in possession once again, about 10 metres out from their try line. Away over on their right hand side, and the referee awards, I thought a penalty. It is, in fact, I wasn't sure it was a scrum or a penalty, not entirely clear, but it is a penalty and a chance for Melrose to escape from their 22.
Over to Poynter Park now. Here's Andrew Fleming.
Midway through the first half, and Kelso have extended their lead courtesy of a Nick Stingall try. Following a counter-attack, the fullback produced a lovely chip and chase to finish in the right-hand corner. Patterson's conversion attempt struck the post, so it remains Kelso 12, Biggar 0.
Well, Dale, I'm not quite sure what's going wrong with the Melrose ball retention here, but they just couldn't keep a hold of it. Neither could Ayr, to be fair.
They're just getting to the ball a little bit quicker. They're getting to the breakdown a little bit quicker, and you find that Melrose, although they set the tone with the defensive pressure earlier on, now it seems that Ayr have turned the tide slightly. They're putting the defensive pressure on, quick line speed, really trying to catch the ball and man at the same time and isolate them. And they're fighting well over the ball. I've said they've been second best in most counts, but it's certainly the fight on the ground. Ayr are winning it at the moment, and they're winning it in dangerous positions, just not really being able to capitalise because of their own errors.
So change in the Ayr pack. Morgan Leatherbarrow on in jersey number 19 takes his place at the front of the Ayr lineup, but it will be a Melrose throw just outside their 22. In it comes Thomas Brown, the target this time, takes that one cleanly at the front of the Melrose line out. Melrose try and get this one moving forward, but going nowhere here. In fact, they're inching backwards. They have to play this one away. A little bit untidy, but away they come here, rather cross field. through Ben McLean, the Melrose hooker, and then play back the way it came from, but once again can't keep a hold of that ball. Trying to drive Ayr back here, but it's Ayr in possession midway between the Melrose 10 metre line and halfway, and lots of players strung across towards the stand side. Jamie Bova off there to Rudy Anderson, and finds its way out to Scott Fulton, but he's clattered into touch just down in front of us on the stand side of the pitch. Double blast on the whistle by the referee, and who is he not happy with? He's calling. Entirely sure what he's seen here.
I missed it. Whatever he's seen, he's going to have a word with both captains. So Reese and Colvin are both in for a little conversation. But one aspect to this game, I've been saying that Ayr aren't playing well. One aspect which is starting to show a lot of signs as to why they're not playing well is sometimes Bova's decision making. Sometimes when he's going up, he passed that ball a little bit too early, which meant that it was just a matter of shoveling on a really bad pass after that. Other sayings are available, but they were just shoveling the ball on. And then other occasions he's trucking it up when he's got the offload there, when he's got the offload available. He's drawn in the defenders, but he just seems like he's going for the other option just now, trying to do a little bit too much. And you feel that if he can utilise the right decision, then he's got the tools to unlock this Melrose defence.
Well, we've got about 5 minutes left in the first half here at the Green Yards. It's still all square, 14 points all, 2 tries each, both converted. It'll be Melrose and Ben McLean to throw into the line out, once again just outside that Melrose 22, and then Thomas Brown once again the target, moving forward, takes that one cleanly, and again Melrose try and just get this drive moving forward. Bruce Colvin got hands on that, he saw a bit of a gap and he went through it, eventually taken down by his opposite number, Ross McCorkindale, but quick ball here for Melrose, and Ben McLean once again just sticks his head down and takes play up towards halfway. Colvin out to Hutchison, and into the midfield, a long pass out to right wing Harry Mikowski there by Donald Crawford, and Mikowski takes play just about up to Ayr 22, eventually dragged down, and come the Melrose forwards, counter-ruck by Ayr, but it does come back on the Melrose side, and Elliot Ruthven takes the ball into contact. The referee, I think, saying a high tackle, so playing advantage here, and there's space out in the stand side of the field if Melrose can get it there. Ben McLean out there to James Brown, already with 1 try this afternoon, takes play into the 22 now. Referee though saw an infringement, said rolling forward, double movement, so he will go back for the first infringement, which I still was trying to work out what he was meaning. I think perhaps a high tackle or a forearm or something. Was it holding on to the ball there? Either way, Melrose unable to make anything of the attack down this stand side, but they will have another opportunity from the penalty over on the other side.
Yeah, the referee signalling to his arm. I think it was perhaps a forearm that's maybe caught one of the players, but again, that's showing all the glorious things we did see in last month in the Melrose versus Gala game. The back play, they take the ball to the line. They've got options as well, and you could see when David Colvin had the ball in his hands there, he had a few options outside and floated a great ball out to Mikowski, and he just tore up the ground. Just because he's quite slight, just not had enough room to try and evade and use his footwork, but was able to make some good yards. And the cavalry did arrive, kept the tempo high, which meant that they were in no danger of losing the ball, and Melrose now in a great attacking opportunity here.
Elliot Ruthven, the target this time at the Melrose line out, and about 8 metres or so out from the Ayr try line, over in that policeman's corner, so they'll have a go through the forwards first, no doubt, back strung away across to the left if needed. And it's still Melrose. Well, they were in possession, but the referee says Ayr have managed to kill that one. I think the referee just explained it to both sets of forwards, but I think this will be scrum feed to Ayr.
Yeah, again another great example of some defensive work at the Mall. How many times do we talk about teams utilising the drive and Mall? If you've got a big pack, you can utilise it pretty well when you're within 5 metres, but it's becoming ever more apparent that teams are starting to cotton on to that and work really hard at their defensive Mall, and Ayr and Melrose both had 2 great examples of just getting the bodies in the right areas to when the Mall eventually does go to ground, they've got folk there just killing the ball. The referee's got no option other than to award the scrum to the defending team, and Ayr there getting off with one, they'll be able to get the put into the scrum, and they'll be looking to clear their lines and keep it all square.
Yeah, they'd be nervous there, Ayr, because it was a good clean take from the line out. They've hit Thomas Brown in the last 2 or 3, but on this occasion they went to Elliot Ruthven, the open side flanker. It's a little bit further back in the line out. Initially got their drive going forward, but
the set piece has been really interesting as well. So it'll be interesting to see if Melrose really do go for it here to try and put the pressure back on Ayr.
Yeah, well, it is an Ayr put in to the scrum, but as you say, Melrose have just about had the upper hand at scrum time. Solid front row of Jack Dobie, Ben McLean and captain Callum Cruikshanks. Well, they do get the drive on there, but the ball had never come in, so the referee will reset this one. About 10 metres in from the touchline. Savouring that postman's corner. Watching from the other side of the field, just above the stand here at the Greenyards. We're getting close to what will be last action of the half. We're into the final minute of normal time. Not a huge amount of a huge number of stoppages in the first half. Still Melrose 14, Ayr 14. Let's say Ayr in possession, but Melrose will look to put the pressure on at scrum time. They do just get that drive on, and now a little bit of momentum, but Ayr managed to get that one out. And again, just go to the considerable bulk of Jamie Bova to get them on the front foot, and then they'll just fire this one back to Jack Anderson. It's a good clean connection on that one, finds a touch on the far side of the field, and about 25-26 metres or so out from that Ayr try line.
Okay, a quick update in the Premiership. 28-10 to Curry now against Glasgow Hawks. It's Embrackis 28, Musselburgh 5, GHA 17, Selkirk 21, and Heriot'S Blues 24. JEDFOREST 30 will be rejoining Robin Purdie at the Goldenacre very, very soon.
But it's Melrose with the throw into the line out. Over on the far side of the pitch as we watch from the stand, that is not the straightest throw again of the day. The referee says play advantage. It came back on the Melrose side. It didn't look straight at all, but the referee happy to play on. And again, the Melrose forwards, and spearheaded by Elliot Ruthven, taking that ball into contact. Ruthven has been superb in this first half, but the loose pass, wild pass by Bruce Colvin, couldn't be taken by, like Gregor Lindsay there. So ball knocked on by Melrose, and once again wasteful of a good attacking opportunity. And again it'll be Ayr to feed the scrum. Centre field just outside their 22, and a chance for the visitors to exit.
Yeah, it was Ross McConnell, the supporting player. The second row was maybe just a little bit flat, but as well Bruce Colvin tried to be a bit smart and a bit cute to get the ball over and fire a ball with great kind of velocity at the second row to hit the line and go through that gap, but just not able to match up their ideas there, and the ball runs aground. And Ayr, again, being able to just utilise all their experience to slowly but surely creep out of their danger zone, because they were 5 metres out from their own line, defending for their lives, and now all of a sudden they're trying to attack from deep, and Bova's just bounced off his knee. He's going to have to put some pressure back on this, but it comes to nothing.
Well, the referee playing an advantage there. It's back on Melrose side of halfway. Well, David Colvin's done a great job bringing the ball forward from full back, takes play back onto the Ayr side of halfway, and there's numbers strung across to the left for Melrose if they can get it there. The Ayr defence panicking a little bit, shouting numbers across, and in behind the forwards they go. Nice flat pass and a nice angle by Ben McLean there. He's got his winger Brown with him, cuts back in field, takes play into the 22, dragged down by McCorkindale, but it's Melrose with quick ball. Colvin out to Hutchison, and straightened by Elliot Ruthven just outside the 22, managed to offload. Nice little flick out the back door there, and if that ball could have been taken over on that far side by Melrose. They still had work to be done. The referee saying that Ayr were offside, so another attacking opportunity for Melrose, but throwing everything at Ayr in the closing stages of this first half.
Yeah, it was great play. They were throwing the ball about. Luke Townsend as well, instrumental on 2 occasions, opting for the right choice. He's the 12 for Melrose. We've spoken about Bova maybe not picking the right choices, but Townsend on 2 occasions there, just utilising the space and the man in the space. The last pass there to Mikowski, just couldn't gather it, but the important thing was when James Brown took the ball forward, the support was there really, really quickly, because Ayr were over that, within the boy's body hitting the ground, Ayr were straight over it, but the support came quickly. They allowed Melrose to keep the momentum in that phase of play.
Let's quickly go to Point Apart.
Just a few first half minutes remaining here at Point there, and Kelso have added their third try of the afternoon. Following a period of pressure inside the bigger 22, scrum half Andy Tate snipes his way over, converted by Patterson for a 19-0 advantage.
Well, this will be the last action of the half, I'm sure, because Melrose awarded the penalty. They've opted to kick for the posts, so I'm sure they've asked the referee is time up. David Colvin from right out in front. Up go the flags, makes no mistake with that one. And having said that will be the last action of the half. It's not in fact the last action of the half, but Melrose get themselves a 3-point advantage. It's been tied at 14 apiece for a long time. 2 tries, both converted for each of the sides. As the rain comes on here at the Greenyards, it's Melrose 17, AYR 14.
Yeah, I think that's an important to get the 3 points there. You know, to leave the 22 with some sort of positive result, because they've been exerting a lot of pressure on AYR for the last 5 minutes. In Campton there, 22, you had to leave with something, and they just sneak in front. But a penalty, I think they'll be happy with that, just as the first half's coming to a close.
Jack Dobie did well, the loose head prop to take that from the restart. Ball kicked long by Melrose, tidied up again by the AYR captain, Cameron Rees. Certainly an athletically built second row. And then went John Fulton, acting as scrum half there on the wing with the 21 jersey on. And he goes again, in fact. I'm looking for Ross McCorkindale. Wonder if something has happened to... I see him the scrum half. He'll go in this time way over on the far side of the pitch. So it's AYR in possession just on their side of halfway. That's Rohan Potty, the open side flanker. And just zigzagging back and forward in that 15-metre channel on their left flank, the visitors. Melrose just trying to make a nuisance of themselves at the breakdown there, but AYR still in possession, take play over halfway, so perhaps a last attacking opportunity for the visitors in the closing stages of this first half. In National League Division 1, Cameron Rees again to the fore, the captain, making metres slowly, keeping things tight for now, and just waiting at AYR back division for the right time to strike. This might well be it. Just drop back in field for Bova, looking for a runner coming back from the other side. Finds it the shape of Stuart Collier, his hooker. They can go round the corner through Caleb Ray and play up now towards that Melrose 10-metre line. The visitors slowly inching their way forward here, but Melrose defence is strung along the 10-metre line, looking solid for now. John Fulton, and a bit of a chance on the stand side of the field. Hear a cry of high tackle there, but the referee says play on. Nice little tip on from Rees to Caleb Ray there. And in come the hands from Melrose. However, the referee saying the tackler not rolling away. So I think perhaps the man that came in and got hands on ball was okay, but the man on the floor was not. And what that has done has given a penalty to AYR. Now, will they opt for the same as Melrose did and kick for posts and level things? Well, that's exactly what they've done.
Yeah, Stuart Collier was pointing towards the corner. The hooker was just telling them to go, and he slapped his thighs as they pointed towards the sticks. I think he obviously wanted a bit of glory to try and get his second try of the game. But I think this is the right decision. Bova's an accomplished kicker. It's a challenging kick in challenging conditions. The rain's starting to batter down here at the Greenyards, making things a little bit more slippy underfoot. But this would take things down the tunnel all square, and it's as tight as you like here. And the league also reflects that. But Bova's got a chance on the 15-metre line to try and add 3 points.
Well, he's kicked 2 conversions thus far, and probably from harder positions, to be fair. He's 15 metres in from the stand side touchline. On the wrong side for him, a right-footed kicker. And well, again, he had plenty on that one, but this one fades to the left of the uprights, and with that the referee blows for half-time in a very entertaining first half here in National League Division 1. 2 tries apiece, the only difference between the sides, that David Colvin penalty in injury time. It's Melrose 17, AYR 14.
Thank you very much indeed to Dale Clancy and to Bruce Millar. Let's switch over to Goldenacre now. It's all over there. Heriots against JEDFOREST. Robin Purdie.
And it is a bonus point victory for JEDFOREST here at Goldenacre. Heriots 24, Jed 30. It was manful defence by Jed at the end. There wasn't overly much scoring in the second half, but Jed have toughed this one out. They will head back down the A68 with 5 points in the bag. Couple of losing bonus points for Heriots, which will do their cause no harm towards the lower reaches of the table, of course. But it's Jed who pick up the spoils. Heriots 24, JEDFOREST 30.
Thank you very much indeed to Robin Purdie, and also to Sam Mathews, who were down there at Goldenacre today. A great result for JEDFOREST, particularly when you hear the latest score from Raeburn Place, just a mile or two from where they are. Edinburgh Accies 28, Musselburgh 5. Musselburgh, of course, rock bottom of the league at the moment. Other latest scores we have: Curry 34, Glasgow Hawks 17. It's GHA 17, Selkirk 21. And here is the big one. It's full time at Fullerton Park. Mar 10, Hawick 29. Hawick remain unbeaten. They've got a bonus point win, just like Selkirk had at Fullerton Park, and that's not the easiest thing to do. So many congratulations to them. International 1, the latest score we have is Gala 19, Dundee 8. Still waiting on Highland and GHK. That's a 3 o'clock kick-off. Kelso 19, Biggar 0 is a latest score. 3 tries in the bag for the men from Poinder Park. It's 17-14 at the break here at the Greenyards. Melrose 17, Ayr 14. Full time at Inverleith. Stewart's Melville 24, Watsonians 33. Both teams getting a try bonus there, but Watsonians going away with all 5 points. Stirling County 11, Aberdeen Grammar 5. That's a 3 o'clock kick-off. That is a later score. Let's go to Scremerston now. It's Berwick versus Boroughmuir. You'll remember early in the season Boroughmuir got the win, but is it a Berwick win this time round? Let's find out from Mickey Yanotta.
Berwick 31, Boroughmuir 5. Happy New Year, Berwick. A game of 2 halves and they dominated both. The first saw them gradually wear the visitors down. A brace of tries from Aidan Rosie and hooker Nathan Melrose. Jack Webster converting twice saw them 19-5 in front. That soon became 26-5. A Boroughmuir kick charged down. Alex Orr pounced for the bonus point try, which was converted. Aidan Rosie, full of pace, then set up James Thompson, who was later yellow carded, holding his hand out. Berry, too good on the day. Berwick 31, Boroughmuir 5.
Thank you very much indeed, and good to see Berwick back to winning ways. That will certainly do their position in the table a lot of good, and pouring more misery on Boroughmuir. Not so good luck for Peebles though at Dumfries. It's Dumfries 17, Peebles 3. That is a final score. Kirkcaldy against Cartha Queen's Park. It's half time there. It's Kirkcaldy 14, Cartha Queen's Park 13. Closer than a lot of people would have thought. Final score, Newton Stewart 13, Falkirk 5. That's the big first against second in National 2 today. So Newton Stewart coming away with the spoils there. 4 points for them, and no points for Falkirk because they got only within 8. They could have done with another point there. Preston Lodge 6, Lasswade 14 is a full-time result in National 2. Into East 2, the latest score we have, half-time, it's Hoyt-Lindeen 21, Dunbar 24. Hoyt-Lindeen looking for their first win of the season. And here's a strange one. Half-time, Pennycook 0, Langham 0. Langham unbeaten at the moment, top of the table, 14-point lead they have, very comfortable in East League 2, but no one scoring at Pennycook at the moment. And in East League 3 we have Inverleith 12, Hawick Harlequins 52. That is our final result.
When the weather's dreich and a storm's a brewing, you need a strong, windproof, quality umbrella delivered with good old-fashioned customer service and at an affordable price. Up here in Umbrella Heaven, we say you tackle the ball, we'll tackle the weather. UmbrellaHeaven.com for when the heavens open.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Hello, this is George Ingalls here, and I'm thrilled that my songs are now available on 2 albums, Anthology and Lockdown Blues.
Late in the evening, she's wondering what clothes to wear.
Both available on iTunes to download and stream.
I am the train, been gone since 69.
George Ingalls Anthology and Lockdown Blues. Check them out now on iTunes and other digital sites.
To commemorate the 7th anniversary of the opening of the Borders Railway, an 8 DVD box set is now available featuring the complete series Borders Railway from start to finish, plus the full hour-and-a-half documentary 5 years on, which examines the possibility of an extension to Carlisle, plus extra features including a cab journey along the entire Borders Railway, all for the special price of just £14.99, including post and packing. You can get your copy direct from hotdisc.co.uk/shop. That's hotdisc.co.uk/shop. The 8 DVD box set, The Complete Borders Railway, is available now.
Hi, Nicky Walker here, Curriculum Manager for Borders College Sport. Are you passionate about sport? If so, then look out for the return of our Borders College Rugby, Football and Hockey courses in early 2023.
Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
This is Borders Rugby Special on Borders Rugby Radio.
Yes, coming to you live from the Green Yards, where the half-time scoreline reads Melrose 17, AYR 14. We'll be joining Bruce Millar and Dale Clancy very shortly for second half commentary on that one. Just to recap what we have for you at the moment in the Premiership, it's 34-17 to Curry against Glasgow Hawks. Edinburgh Accies 28, Musselburgh 5, GHA 17, Selkirk 21. That was a 2 o'clock kick-off as well. Full time at Goldenacre, Heriots Blues 24, JEDFOREST 30. A fantastic bonus point win for Jed there. And Mar 10, Hawick 29, a bonus point win for Hawick at the top of the table, still unbeaten. That's their 13th win out of 14, and of course that draw early in the season against Selkirk. It's Gala 19, Dundee 8 at Netherdale, still waiting on news from Highland against GHK. Kelso 19, Biggar 0 is a latest score. 17-14 here of course at half time, Melrose defeating AYR. Stuart's Melville 24, Watsonians 33, both teams getting a try bonus on that one, but Watsonians getting all 5 points, much needed for them. Stirling County 11, Aberdeen Grammar 5 is a latest score. In National 2 it ended at Scremerston, Berwick 31, Boroughmuir 5, Dumfries 17, Peebles 3. Glasgow Accies against Hamilton, still waiting on news on that one. It's half time at Beveridge Park, Kirkcaldy 14, Cartha Queen's Park 13, Newton Stewart 13, Falkirk 5 is a final score, and Preston Lodge 6, Lasswade 14. It's all over there as well. Okay, let's have a look at some of the East League scores lines that we have at the moment. East League 2, half-time it was Pennycook 0, Langham 0, Inverleith 12, Hawick Harlequins 52 is a final score. Well, let's have a quick chat with Dale now, who's been summarising that first half. It's as tight as we expected.
Definitely, and you look at the league table and Melrose are just tucked in behind there, and these games over the last few years, I've said it time and time again, this has been one of the kind of the marquee games in Scottish Club Rugby, and it's proven so again. It's equally as tight. They're not given an inch. It's littered with errors, but they're always going to be, because they're putting so much pressure on each other in terms of trying to get all the points, but also in terms of the game itself panning out, they're looking to try and get the upper hand in every little area they possibly can.
Well, only one 3 o'clock kick-off in the Premiership, but certainly at the moment it's looking good for the likes of Curry and Edinburgh Accies, and Heriots, of course, against JEDFOREST, a win for JEDFOREST and a great win for Hawick as well. Yeah, but we spoke about it as well, but in terms of the fixtures and the way they've lined up this weekend, it's going to have a huge impact in terms of where clubs are going to be focusing over the next few games, and it's obviously been a good weekend for the teams up towards the top of the table, but including Jed. That's a brilliant win away from home, just to pick up the bonus point win against one of your relegation rivals. It gives them a little bit of breathing space in the Premiership. Okay, well, the teams are coming back onto the pitch for the second half of our commentary game this afternoon. It's Melrose 17, AYR 14 at the break. Let's rejoin Dale Clancy and Bruce Millar.
Thank you, Stuart. Melrose 17, AYR 14, the half-time score. And it was James Brown who opened the scoring 7 minutes into this one. Melrose left winger, not a traditional winger's score, in the middle of a pile of bodies. And David Colvin adding extras, and then he again converted Luke Townsend's score at the midway point of the first half. But in reply, Stuart Collier and Kieran Wood for AYR, both converted by Jamie Bova, and the difference between the two sides, that David Colvin penalty. Jamie Bova did have an opportunity to level things as we went into half time, but unsuccessful with his third attempt of the day from the tee. And with that, the referee Scott Cubitt blows to signal the start of this second half. So it's Melrose now playing from left to right as we watch from above the stand here at the Green Yards. The lights on now, which show up the fact that it's raining fairly heavily. I'm not sure whether that will have an impact on the game or not. It's certainly fairly still, but won't help the handling situation, which, it has to be said, in the closing 15 minutes of the first half was not brilliant from either side. Ball retention average at best, but that one off the top of the line out for AYR. So first attacking opportunity for the visitors, a little bit untidy in the midfield. Again, Jamie Bova at the heart of that, looking a little bit unsure he was meant to give that to, and away come Melrose up over halfway. Tackle just short of that AYR 10-metre line. Solid defence by Rohan Potty there, and the number 7 jersey for AYR this afternoon. But still Melrose in possession, just on their side of halfway, out into the midfield, and Donald Crawford managed to get the hands free there and find Harry Makowski, who cuts back in field and takes play to that AYR 22. Quick ball here for Bruce Colvin, and Thomas Brown offers himself as a runner, a little bit isolated though, and in come the AYR hands. Let's come back on the Melrose side very slowly though. David Colvin has to go in and play scrum half. Elliot Ruthven this time, once again a willing ball carrier. Play inside that AYR 22 now. Most of the Melrose players strung away to the left. Thomas Brown has to dive in and tidy that one up. It came out a bit scrappily. The referee playing an advantage, and Hutchison tried to put boot to ball. A little bit of a comedy kick there, couldn't quite connect. But the referee was playing an advantage to the home side and awards the penalty to Melrose right out in front of the posts.
Yeah, Hutchison just trying to use the advantage, and as you say, try to put boot to ball. And the kindest thing we can say is you never put boot to ball. They just dropped to the earth, and it was a bit of persistent pressure from Melrose from the start of the second half. They were coming out, they're moving the target. Great run there from Makowski. Again, I really like Luke Townsend and how quick he gets the ball through the hands. He's electric when the ball comes to him. He's getting the ball through the hands quickly. Doesn't even touch anything apart from his hands. Getting it straight into the spaces here at the Green Yards. And Makowski with a good run, keeping the tempo high, and it just allowed Ross McCorkindale to come round the corner and infringe and give away the penalty, which is a cheap penalty to give away when you're already 3 points behind.
So Melrose again opting to go for the posts. David Colvin from right out in front. Just too easy an opportunity to turn down, just outside the 22. And once again, the Melrose fullback makes no mistake with that one as the rain gets heavier here at the Green Yards. It's Melrose 20, AYR 14.
Yeah, you were saying before about the rain coming down now. It's almost a completely different half to what we've seen in the first half. It was bright, it was windy, but it was relatively dry. And in the second half, obviously the lights are on now. The wind has somewhat died down slightly, but the heavens have opened. So in terms of the game management and how Melrose approach the second half, it's perhaps going to be changed. They can't learn a lot from what AYR did in the first half, and they're going to have to try and figure it out on their own.
Jack Anderson with a restart, taken well by Thomas Brown. That ball goes loose, squirts out on the Melrose side. They've got to go back and somehow defend 5 metres away from the try line. Now that ball seemed to squirt loose. I'm not entirely sure. It does come back on the Melrose side. In fact, again over in that policeman's corner. It's Melrose in possession. Look like they may well be on the attack. Just got to clear their lines here. Back it goes to Hutchison. Has to hurry the kick away. Does find a touch. Doesn't make a huge amount of ground. Just about 25 metres or so away from that Melrose try line.
We did see in the first half when Melrose got the first score, it kind of sprung AYR into life, and you feel it's a kind of case of deja vu, because Melrose have come out pretty strong and AYR already reacting, trying to put the pressure back on Melrose inside their own half.
They're taken cleanly and the line out by AYR, but been driven back by Melrose. They'll have to play it away from there now again to Jamie Bova. Ball out the back this time. He had the option with centre partner Rory Anderson, but opted not to. Ross McCorkindale calling forwards round the corner here, and they make good ground through Cameron Rees, the captain, and take play a little bit wider up towards the Melrose 22. The referee saying, I'm telling you, the Melrose players got to release the tackle there. Once again through the forwards, and Morgan Leatherbarrow, who came on as a first half replacement. The ball whipped away there from one half back to the other. Jamie Bova looking for the inside ball there, finds Fulton popping up off his left wing over on that far side. Once again the forwards organising themselves into a little arrowhead shape, and Rohan Potty, probably the smallest of the AYR forwards, carries that one into contact. Rather sideways there goes Morgan Leatherbarrow, but still AYR in around that Melrose 22, make another metre or so, and Scott Watson comes racing in from fullback. Thought he was going to have to play scrum half, but Ross McCorkindale pops up, and again Jamie Bova just drops that ball off to his centre partner and just gives another pass out to Kieran Wood, one of the try scorers in that AYR right wing. Still AYR 12-14 metres away from that Melrose try line. I'm not seen too much of Rory Saso. Gets his hands on the ball, makes another metre or so, and plays centre field for AYR here, and referee playing an advantage. So once again McCorkindale puts boot to ball, and this could well work for them this time. It was Donald Crawford, I think, who won the race there, got up and plucked that ball out of the sky to save his side there. A bit of a shot to nothing for McCorkindale. It worked for him in the first half. And as Kieran Wood is the recipient of his crossfield kick, not on this occasion. The referee will come back to award Ayr the try. Just having a quick word with David Colvin, Melrose captain.
I always find that when the teams have the penalty advantage, which Ayr did there, persistent pressure, really good with the ball in hand, carrying the ball forward, making the right options. As soon as the advantage comes, it seems like coaching goes out the window. Players have creative licence, and I think there, when you've got your tails up and you're really making a head of steam towards the defensive line, keep playing the way you're playing, because 5, 6, 7 metres out, the referee's not going to call time on the advantage for that, that distance. You've pretty much got the rest of the clock until you make an error, and I think that was maybe a little bit forced. The first time in this game where I've seen McCorkindale perhaps not pick the right option, going for the glorious crossfield kick again, just not coming off for him there. But Ayr again looking dangerous, good possession, good territory.
Well, Ayr opting to go for the post from right out in front, and Jamie Bova, the easiest kick of the afternoon, narrows the gap once again just to 3 points. Melrose 20, Ayr 17.
Yeah, after all that persistent pressure, we said it about Melrose in the first half, you have to leave with something, and they got the 3 points there through Bova, and it'll do his confidence no harm at all to get a kick after missing one at the end of the first half. He gets a successful attempt there, but straight from the restart there, it looks like the referee is awarded a knock-on from Melrose, contesting it in the air. It's just drifted forward slightly, and it's going to fall back into Ayr hands. They're going to have a scrum just on the outside of their 22, and that's, as they'll probably welcome that. We always say don't make an error after you've scored either or conceded, and Melrose just a little bit keen to try and contest that, give the ball back to Ayr.
Yes, it's Ayr to feed the scrum just outside their 22, so Melrose will look to put the pressure on through the scrum as they've done all afternoon. And Ayr, you would imagine, will try and get this one sent off downfield. Just the one player in the backfield, David Colvin for Melrose. That pressure does come on through the Melrose 8, and McCallum forced to pick up and driven sideways, so he's just outside his 22. It's still Ayr in possession, and that Brown will know it. It's Callum Cruikshanks compiling into the breakdown there for Melrose. It's still Ayr in possession. Melrose trying to make things very hard for them here. Line coming up very quickly, and Ayr have lost 3 or 4 metres here. They're going to have to get this one away from the danger zone as quickly as they can, and it's McCorkindale who does put boot to ball, doesn't get a huge amount of distance, probably playing into what wind there is in this second half, and finds a touch just midway between the Ayr 22 and 10 metre line.
And that's something that the Melrose have been really good at this season is defending, and they're set up in defence as well. They were saying there David Colvin was the only one back, but as soon as they were alert to the kick going downfield, they were able to cover backfield with Mikowski dropping back, and they had 2 players in the rear field, but the line out not going to plan, and it's going to go in back on an Ayr side.
Yeah, the line outs have been a little bit untidy from both sides today. Ball knocked on by Melrose, so it will be another scrum down to Ayr, probably 5 or 6 metres further upfield from an Ayr point of view than the last one, but they did come under a huge amount of pressure.
Yeah, definitely, and I think, especially at the set piece, you're saying there that they've been a bit scrappy. The beauty of this surface is that the scrums tend not to, but with the weather coming on now, I don't expect the lineouts to get any cleaner because of the slippy ball, so it's certainly challenging conditions for the hooker and for the jumpers as well. But luckily it's going to be a scrum, and you would imagine this would come to fruition because of the surface that they're on.
So Ross McCorkindale has shown up well in the 9 jersey for Ayr today. Bruce Colvin standing alongside him, and then it comes from McCorkindale and McCallum. Well, you knew he was going to do that. He just picked that one up as quickly as he could before Melrose got the drive on, and then that ball sent downfield by Bova, and Colvin having to wait on the kinder bounce, bobbled around a little bit, eventually gets hands on it and sends it down to his opposite number, Scott Watson, who brings play back up towards halfway, and then McCorkindale, little chip over the top, nice little flick out the back door there, but couldn't quite find Kieran Wood. A good breakout from their own 22 by Ayr. Ross McCorkindale again at the heart of that, Kieran Wood on hand and Scott Watson involved. So Ayr have got themselves out with their 22, but with the knock on, it will be a scrum down, and Melrose feed just around about their own 10 metre line, 5 metres in from the stand side touchline.
And one of the first times we've really seen Rudy Anderson come into the game, the outside centre for Ayr. He's showed some great supporting lines there, great linking up as well, and I think at times he's perhaps been not given as much room to work in that because of Bova's work, but they've certainly shown that they've got a weapon there at the outside centre if they can give them a little bit more time with the ball in hand.
The referee not happy on the first attempt at the scrum here. Imagine, as Melrose have been dominant, they try and win themselves a penalty from this. Just get this ball cleanly away. Melrose back division strung away across to the left of the scrum, so just 5 metres or so in from the stand side of the pitch. So second attempt, Jack Dobie, Ben McLean and Callum Cruikshank still in that front row for Melrose. Likewise Caleb Ray, Stuart Collier and Rory Sace for the visitors. A view from above down onto this scrum, and you can see there that Caleb Ray seemed to just, I didn't quite lose his footing, he just went sort of nosedived straight down towards well, it's not really turf here, the 3G surface, under pressure from his opposite number, Callum Cruikshanks. So Melrose do win the penalty from the scrum. Not a great angle there for Struan Hutchison. He does manage to make 10 or 12 metres takes play into their half.
Yeah, the referee just signalled to Caleb Ray that he was perhaps looking to try and pull down in the scrum. Opposite man, as you mentioned, Callum Cruikshank's putting a lot of pressure on in the front row, and he was just trying to just twist his opposition's body just illegally, and the referee was just there right beside him to spot it and give him a little tap on the back as well, just to let him know it was his error that led to the penalty.
Lots of movement in that Melrose line out. Eventually they throw it to the middle and off the top a little bit untidily, but the hands anything but untidy as they get the ball very quickly out onto their left touch line and takes play up over that Ayr 10 metre line, try to up the pace of the game. Back in field, it's a longer pass there. Jack Dobie hit hard by the Ayr defence, but Melrose now on the attack on that Ayr 10 metre line. Flat pass to Thomas Brown, looks to get the hand free and makes the offload. And centre field options both ways, but again they come to the right and hurried pass through the hands there. Referee says no knock on, so through the legs of Colvin and into the arms of Harry Mikowski. Then goes Bruce Colvin looking for his forwards again and finds Rory Lindsay. Takes play another 2 or 3 metres forward, and huge space there. Through goes Ben McLean. He's got players either side of him. He finds Elliot Ruthven on his inside, and the open side flanker dives over. And great interplay there between the Melrose forwards. It's Melrose 25, Ayr 17.
Yeah, there's 2 great bits of play there. Both times it was, there was Colvin's involved. The great little tip-on pass from David Colvin over in the banking side here at the Green Yards. Just went through the fingertips, managed to release his winger, scampers up the touchline, and when he came back he went through the legs as well. But the experience of Bruce Colvin there, just spotting that there was a gap on the blind side, he managed to carry the ball long enough in his hands to attract all the defenders and just release Ben McLean. And Ben McLean just then had a 2-on-1. Simple option. He actually had a 3-on-1. He had somebody on his outside as well, but went back inside, and it was Elliot Ruthven there in support. And I think if there's a man on that pitch that deserves a try so far, I would say Ruthven. He's been brilliant in the first half and industrious in the second here as well. So a great team score with the Colvins at the heart of it.
Yeah, they just seemed to spark into life, Melrose, when they got themselves on the front foot and into the Ayr half there. Seemed to lift the pace of the game. It was a wonderful handling initially to get the ball over onto the far side, and then back it came. As you say, there were some nice tip-ons there, there was basketball passes, there was balls through the legs by that man David Colvin, who adds the extras, makes no mistake, and Melrose now have a healthy looking 10 points advantage. But it was the forwards who finished it. Ben McLean, who made the break, picked a nice line off the pass of Bruce Colvin, and he did have options both sides, went inside to Elliot Ruthven. It's Melrose 27, Ayr 17.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing that you said there, Bruce, is the fact that it was the pace and the speed. They were keeping it alive and really taking the game to Ayr, and it's the first time they've really sparked into life and really looked to take to up the ante and really impose themselves with the tempo. But Ayr from the kick-off have launching themselves in an attack just outside of the Melrose 22.
Pete McCallum takes play up to just outside the Melrose 22 again. Centre field out behind to Jamie Bova. Had a little look inside, instead gives it to his centre partner. And it's Ayr on the attack this time. You feel they need to reply. And make good headway there. I think through, was that Caleb Ray? Ball couldn't be taken cleanly, and Melrose come up with that one inside there, 22. And they're trying remedy the situation. Can't get hands on the ball though, and Melrose will just look to send this one off downfield. Catch that one nicely, and well, it's really well dealt with by the Ayr left winger Kieran Wood, who just sends that back down into the Melrose 22, but just gets a little bit too much on it. Ball runs dead, and the referee will come all the way back to in line with where that one was kicked, which I think was just inside the Ayr half. Initially looked like a good option by Wood. Let's say just got a little bit too much on it, and it's Melrose now, who I don't even think they'll consider that they've got the game in the bag with a 10-point advantage, but they now will be thinking bonus point as well. They've got 3 tries and thinking of staying in touch with Kelso's. Thomas Brown takes the applause of the crowd. That a head knock, I think, so he'll come off to be assessed there. He's had a good afternoon, putting a good shift in the second row. But yeah, Melrose will now be thinking of that 4th try.
Yeah, definitely. I think they'll be looking to try and hunt and chase down Kelso. They've got themselves in a good position now in terms of this game, but the marathon in terms of the league is also going to be playing on their mind, because they need to stay on the coattails of Kelso, and it makes a mouth-watering battle later on in the year when they'll lock horns yet again. But it's certainly been a good polished performance from Melrose so far. But yeah, Tam Brown he dropped the shoulder, tried to put in a tackle there, and then he was sparked out on the ground. And I think the medical staff are keeping a keen eye on him, and he's definitely off to get assessed. But he was wobbling about in those big legs of his, and he's certainly off for NHIA.
Let's quickly go to Pointer Park.
56 minutes on the clock, and Kelso hold a 12-point lead. After Cammy Thompson buried his way over to secure Kelso's try bonus, Biggar responded immediately, again showing how dangerous it can be, with Rowan Stewart adding his second of the afternoon. Kelso 26, Biggar 14.
Melrose 27, Ayr 17. The scoreline here also in National League Division 1. It's 3rd against 2nd. Melrose against Ayr. Kelso sitting at the top of the pile, as you heard there, with a 12-point advantage over Biggar. Ayr come away with the ball, but illegally so. The referee just explaining what had happened there to Pete McCallum, the Ayr number 8. Either way, it will be a Melrose penalty. So this is, it's a long way out, it's in front of the post, so Melrose will kick for the corner here. Don't have any thought of going for the post, so they'll have the bonus point in the back of their mind. They will not know what is happening at Pointer Park, but we're hearing there that assuming Kelso are going to win that one, they do have a bonus point in the bag. And there's still a lot of rugby to be played, but as we said at the start, you get the feeling that whoever loses this one may well find themselves locked out of the title race. And you can see the way that both sides have approached this one, how much it means to them. But it's Melrose who for now have that healthy looking 10 points advantage and could just about kill the game here if they can get themselves across for their 4th try. The line out is on the stand side of the pitch, 17 metres or so out from the Ayr try line. They've lost Thomas Brown, who's been a good line out option for them, but the again cleanly taken in the middle, back to Ben McLean and the hooker. Comes round as is customary for the hooker at the back there, another crabbing sideways, get a little bit of go forward, but they've been driven towards the touchline by the visitors. So Ben McLean realises he's got to break away here, hits his side on the front foot again, and forwards to get themselves back on their feet, set themselves up in that little arrowhead formation. However, they've had to divert their route and back in to tidy that one up, because it was very slow in coming out. Now they get some go forward there. It's a big Melrose pack when you see them with ball in hand, so close to the Ayr try line, and the Ayr defence really up against it here. Round the corner they come again, and Ayr trying to put in the big shots here and keep the Melrose attack at bay. Go a little bit wider now, and Hutchison will look outside him, cut back inside, and he's driven back another metre or so. So it's still Melrose in possession. Centre field, a metre or so outside that 5 metre line now though. Again, just trying to get themselves on the front foot, and they'll keep it tight through the forward, especially in these conditions. And just a little bit of fisticuffs there. Jamie Bova getting involved. Will Ferry likewise. And it's still Melrose with ball in hand. It's a good line there, and the Ayr defence having to really tighten up there to deal with what Melrose throwing. A little inside ball there, maybe being a little bit cleverer than they needed to be. Once again, it's Melrose in possession. You feel, as I say, if they do score here, this could well be the game. The Ayr defence, good work. Drive Melrose another metre or so further back, 8 metres or so from that try line now. Once again, just tight through the forwards. You can see Harry Mikowski lurking out on the right touchline. He'll look to get this at some point. Forwards again through Callum Cruikshanks this time, throwing everything they can at that Ayr defence, which has been stout so far, and the referee awards the penalty to Ayr. Wonderful play by the visitors and surviving everything that Melrose could throw at them, realising the importance of that situation, and a huge sigh of relief breathed by the visitors as the referee swung round towards their side and awarded the penalty.
Yeah, great defensive play from AYR, just managed to keep their line really tight. They knew Melrose were just going to try and pick and go round the corner, and they got bodies there. They worked hard off the ball, got round the corner quickly as well to plug the gaps, and it meant that Melrose had to work double hard to try and dislodge them, and in the end they were isolated slightly. AYR managed to win the penalty, but Stuart Hutchison, just a little bit of running repairs for him. You can see him hobbling about just before he's getting back into his position now. They've got the likes of Xander Ramage on the bench, and obviously pretty much every other back in the Melrose backline can play fly half, so they're not short of options. But I think Stuart Hutchison has just illustrated this afternoon how important he is for Melrose in terms of his game management and what he brings to this attacking line as well. But he's just pumping the calves, getting on with the job, and I think he'll be fine for the time being.
So into the final quarter here at the Greenyards in National League Division 1. It's still Melrose 27, AYR 17. It'll be AYR to throw into the line out. Their kick to the touchline from the penalty, but again playing into the wind in this second half, so unable to make a huge amount of distance from that. The referee just having a quick word with one or two of the AYR players. Eventually we'll get time back on here. And the AYR line out looking to form with, I think, 5 men in it. One of the forwards standing off there. Melrose go up to, well, they thought about contesting that, but never really got off the ground, and a good clean take by AYR in the middle of that one. Driving forward just to try and put that Melrose defence in the back foot. Melrose got 3 men in the backfield expecting the kick here, and this will stay in field. Untidy chase there by AYR. The tackle made just on the Melrose side of halfway though, as the ball comes squirting out on the Melrose side, and Bruce Colvin thought he saw space in behind. I'm not sure it existed though, and it's picked up by one of the AYR back three. Just kick the ball back to Melrose. Kick tennis here, and hint of a high tackle there. Again, you can perhaps hear the cries of the crowd over our microphones, so the referee happy to play on. Hutchison looks fine, gets the ball out to his outside centre, Donald Crawford, who skips through a couple of tackles, eventually brought down by Bova just on the AYR side of halfway, lifts the ball off the deck, and then quickly through the hands, pulled back by Callum Cruikshanks to Struan Hutchison, and good interplay once again between the Melrose backs and forwards. Hutchison once more involved, finds his fullback David Colvin, who threads a ball through there, and the loudest cheer of the day reserved for the mistake by Kieran Wood, the AYR left wing, as he tried to pick that ball up from the balls. It was stabbed through by David Colvin, couldn't pick it up, ball knocked on, and that hands an attacking scrum to Melrose in a really dangerous position.
Yeah, you can see the experienced heads now coming in for Melrose to manage this game. Hutchison just loitering in behind the big ball carriers, offering himself as an option to distribute after, which is allowing the likes of Donald Crawford to come back into this game. He's been quite quiet for the last 20 minutes, but a great run there, showing, I think he just gets better and better every year. I've watched him. I think he's a tremendous player. Seems to be getting quicker as well, but showing a good fend there, managing to retain the ball, and then eventually David Colvin just stabbed it down on this greasy, sodden pitch, and it just caught Wood a bit unawares in the backfield. It just bounced off his chest, and it allows Melrose from, they weren't really going anywhere. An attacking kick comes in, and it just invites the pressure on AYR, and they get they put into the scrum, and they will be hunting down this bonus point try now.
Change in the front row for Melrose. Ben McLean limping his way to the sidelines. It looks like, is it Sandy Fairburn on in the front row? It looks like, is it Jack Dobie has switched to Hookart. I'll confirm that. It's over another side of the field. Can't quite see the numbers on jerseys, but still certainly a solid looking scrum for Melrose, and they win the free kick from that one. I imagine they will just opt to reset this one. They've been dominant at the set piece all afternoon. The referee just explaining what was going on there, and AYR called back forward again. Back forward. You knew what I meant.
Yeah.
Called forward again to scrum down. I don't think we've enjoyed the scrummaging an awful lot this afternoon. They're going to be put to the test here, and Melrose will have, I suppose the thought, can they win a penalty from here, allow them to kick it to the corner, but I fancy that the Melrose backs would like a go here. The centres have switched. Donald Crawford lining up inside centre, Luke Townsend outside. They've certainly got the ball moving forward. Rui Lindsay has the ball at his feet, picks and gives it to his scrum half, and a bit of a loose pass there, but the the referee saying, well, in fact, the infringement was not at the scrum, it was an early tackle, I think. So Melrose do get their penalty for a different infringement. It's right out in front of the posts, and well, they have no hesitation. We spoke about the perhaps thinking of that fourth bonus point try, but for now they've just got winning this game in their mind.
Okay, I think we can go over to Netherdale now. Alan Lorimer's waiting for us there. It's Gala against Dundee.
Latest score from Netherdale is Gala leading 26 points to 8. Gala got their bonus point with a try 5 minutes in the second half by Scott Peffer. So latest score again, 26 points to 15 for Gala.
27 points to 17 for Melrose, but you imagine a kicker of the quality of David Colvin will make no mistake here, and up once again go the flags. It's Melrose 30, AYR 17. You've got to say that Melrose have got this one in the bag now. They've just got to find that fourth try.
Yeah, 15 minutes still to play here. It's a comfortable lead, but I don't think you can ever write AYR off. They just need something to spark them back into life. They've never really threatened the defensive line of Melrose too much, but you feel if they get one occasion where they can do that they might be able to just shot a little a warning shot across the bows at the Melrose. And again from the restart, AYR managed to get the ball back on their side, and they're again camped on the Melrose 22.
Yeah, just 13 points there at the advantage. I say just 13, but of course 2 converted tries, so you're right, Dale, there is plenty of time. However, AYR will need to be a little bit tidier than that and keep a hold of the ball, because they just lost that one ball knocked on, and that hands the ball to Melrose, who will have a scrum feed centre field and on their 22. We've spoken about their scrum dominance, so look out for Melrose trying to win themselves a scrum penalty here.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the game as a whole, like Melrose, in terms of their set piece, their scrum has been a solid foundation. They've kept the tempo high. They've got ball carriers, and they've got folk in the backs that can, throw the ball about. And also in terms of their game management, they've got 3 or 4 players out there that can kick you in any position in the field. They've managed this game really well. But this last 15 minutes is going to be a huge 15 minutes for both teams in terms of their season in National 1.
Picked up by Rory Lindsay, not the best of passes, a little bit of a no-look attempt to Bruce Colvin, but they took it well, the scrum half, and sent it off downfield. Scott Watson brings play back over halfway for the visitors, and there went Kieran Wood acting as scrum half. Shifts it a little bit further out into the midfield. Wood again coming in as auxiliary scrum half, and then Jamie Bova looked to give the ball to his winger, instead just straightened but dealt with well by the Melrose defence, who come forward to put pressure on AYR. Still played just on the Melrose side of halfway, and they've found a space down that right flank. Ball back in field here, and AYR should score if they can hold their feet. Ball back inside there to Robbie McLaren off the bench for AYR. Well, they have done exactly what we said they had the ability to do. They've got themselves back into this one. Melrose 30, AYR 22.
Try scorer for AYR, number 22, Robbie McLaren.
Yeah, we did say we were not going to write off AYR, did we? And straight away, as they come out the traps and they get that score, this conversion is going to be really important in terms of what AYR, how they approach the final stages of this game. But we still do have about 11 so minutes left here. Bova's got the conversion attempt to come, but again, just showing how dangerous AYR can be, in open field play, stringing some passes together and utilising their bench as well. That's a couple of replacements coming on there just to make an impact. And Bova splits the Kinlan, adds the extras, and we've got a game on here.
Yeah, Jamie Bova with his third successful conversion, 30 points to 24, so 6 points the difference again, which means that a converted try by AYR will get themselves back, noses in front. There's still about 10 minutes left to play here at the Green Yards. All to play for at the top of National League Division 1. It sounds like Kelso will once again win at Poynter Park, so really desperately need to win both of these sides. Certainly the way things are lined up, we're going to get a winner. I don't think we're going to get a draw here. It's the home side with that slender 6 points advantage, but the visitors again just building their way back into this game, carrying through the forwards. And then it's Kieran Wood, who seems to have gone in permanently now, I think, to scrum half. Puts boot to ball there and just trying to force Melrose back. So they're in possession back on inside their own 22. The referee indicating a knock on, though it was by AYR, so it'll be a scrum feed for Melrose.
in terms of the league table, you were touching on it there, and Kelso obviously sitting top of the pile, but Ayr have played out one game more than Melrose and Kelso, and you feel it's more important that they win this game than perhaps Melrose, because if Melrose do win, it definitely does cut away Ayr. It's probably too big a mountain to climb, but certainly Melrose do have more realistic aspirations at trying to stay on the coattails of Kelso. So 6 points of difference, 10 minutes to go. It's a lot to play for, and I don't think you can predict the winner at the moment.
Both these sides still to play. Kelso, both games will be at Pointer Park. So advantage Kelso, you would think in those ones, but it's Melrose as the conditions get worse here. Driving rain now. The surface will hold up, 3G, but handling conditions difficult, and Melrose perhaps alive to that as they force Ayr back, and that's a good chase there. 4 Melrose players on hand. Pressure on Watson at the back for Ayr. He doesn't catch his kick perfectly. It does find a touch just around about that Ayr 10 metre line.
Yeah, Donald Crawford in his own 22 kicked it downfield, just outside his own 22, kicked it downfield. So you can imagine where he was in the field of play, and when they've kicked it out, when it's been retrieved by Ayr, they've only managed to get in between their own 22 and the 10 metre line. So it's a great territorial gain for Melrose. They've got the ball in hand as well, and they'll be looking to try and play rugby in the right areas now and wind down the clock.
So, Sandy Fairbairn with the throw, but couldn't be taken cleanly by Melrose, and again they were in a good attacking position. It's Ayr through Jamie Bova, who just sends that one long and then makes the charge down. Bounces clear. Can Colvin tidy things up? Well, he does. It was his kick that was charged down, but manages to rectify the situation. It's Melrose in possession just on their side of halfway, and then Bruce Colvin with his kick charged down. Back goes Stuart Hutchison this time, and ball is all over the place, and Jamie Bova trying his best without an awful lot of support from the rest of the Ayr defence to win that. But Melrose eventually get the ball in behind the Ayr defence. Just rolls into touch on the stand side of the pitch, just outside that Ayr 22.
I don't know when Mr. Gadget signed for Ayr, because that's a couple of charge downs there. You know, Ayr stretching every single sinew. Bova was one there. McCallum was in there as well, looking to stretch to try and defend the kicks. Eventually, Melrose managed to get a good connection on the ball, kick downfield, and he managed just to get just outside the Ayr 22 and just turn the tide slightly, get back in a good position, because they're starting to look a little bit ropey.
Well, neither replacement hooker covering themselves in glory there as Hutchison goes through the middle. This is from an Ayr line out. Play centre field, 10 metres out from the Ayr try line. Little break by Bruce Colvin there, just slips off the first tackle. Takes play another metre or so further forward as the troops mass for Melrose. They'll keep things tight once again here. Colvin again just having a look, this time a little bit slow in arriving. In fact, will take play back to the right for Melrose. Still 5 metres or so out, but Ayr defending for their lives here. Now the long pass thrown out to Colvin. He's got a man outside him in the shape of Harry Mikowski, but doesn't use him. Dragged down 6 or 7 metres in from the stand side touchline into the forwards again. Go Melrose. We'll look to keep things tight. That's Ross McConnell still on the starting second row. He's lost his second row partner Thomas Brown, and the ball lost there by Elliot Ruthven, as Melrose really needed to keep a hold of that one. So it's Ayr just a metre or two from their try line, but the referee will play an advantage. Will they try and run it out of there? Well, they will. There's a man out there, and it's still Ayr in possession, but Melrose just about clinging on to Boottail. Now can Ayr do the unthinkable and break from their own try line here? Well, advantage will be over. It's 2 Ayr players, and David Colvin back rather on his own there, so just had to hurriedly turn and kick that ball. It's been picked off in the backfield by Ayr. Thought of passing there, did McLaughlin, but takes ball into contact on the Melrose 10 metre line, and cries from the stand down below us, I think appealing for a penalty for the home side, but the referee said Melrose player, and I think it was Harry Mikowski, going off his feet, awards the penalty to Ayr, and things getting more than a little bit tense here at the Greenyards. Melrose 30, Ayr 24, and into the closing 5 or 6 minutes.
Great ambition from Ayr, so playing some rugby in their own goal area, managing just to pass the ball wide, find the space and kick downfield and put the pressure back on Melrose.
Okay, whilst there's an injury, let's bring you right up to date with what's happening. All the full times are in now from the Premiership. That's Curry 34, Glasgow Hawks 17, Edinburgh 28, Musselburgh 5, GHA 17, Selkirk 21, Heriots Blues 24, JEDFOREST 30, and Mar 10. Hawick either 27 or 29. We're not quite sure. We've seen conflicting points, but they've got the 5 points anyway, have Hawick, and that's a great 3 wins in the Premiership for the Borders sides.
5 minutes left then in National League Division 1 at the Greenyard. Still all to play for. Melrose with a 6 points advantage. Another untidy throw into the line out by AYR. The referee Cubitt says play on. It's the visitors in possession, driven back by the Melrose defence, strung across an imaginary line midway between their 22 and 10 metre line. Will not want to give AYR an inch here. And again, it's Kieran Wood playing scrum half in the second half now. Ross McCorkindale gone. Now it goes a little bit of a shimmy there by Jack Anderson and just sticks his head down, makes a metre or two, takes play towards that 22. Back it comes then to Morgan Leatherbarrow, the headgear on. The first half replacement for the visitors. And Jamie Bova forced to straighten once again as Struan Hutchison came flying out the line for Melrose. And once more, Cameron Rees, a very willing ball carrier, the visiting captain. Ball went loose, but it comes back again on the AYR side. Melrose having to defend for now. Keep a hold of that 6 points advantage, and they're driving AYR back towards that 10 metre line, but still in possession. Through Caleb Ray. Still on the starting loose head prop. And likewise, Sace, the tight head, in there trying to free that ball and win it back. Here just moving the Melrose defence back and forward in the centre of the field. Dave Young on, the replacement hooker. And again they go to the right. They've got a numbers advantage, I think, here. And coming on a good lick there, but unable to keep a hold of the ball. A little bit untidy. I think they sensed half a chance in front of there, that AYR back line. But untidy handling by the visitors, and that ball just thrown into touch.
Yeah, I've been looking to try and see Rudy Anderson all game, and finally he gets himself in a nice bit of space. He's got 2 guys outside him, and he wound that ball up far too much and just put too much force on it. No chance for his wingers to grab that ball and try and utilise the space that they had out wide, and just it gives the ball back to Melrose. As we say, we've got about 2.5-3 minutes left here, and that was probably AYR's opportunity to really put Melrose under pressure, and they've got the ball back from the line out now.
Still 3 tries apiece, neither team with a bonus point. I think both be very much thinking of the win again just at this stage. And there goes Leatherbarrow once more. Getting his side in the front foot a little bit slow. And comes Kieran Wood, scrum half. Good defence once more by Melrose. I think they realise the urgency of the situation. They're coming forward hard and putting pressure on, but that's better handling by the AYR back line. Jamie McLaughlin cuts back in field. He's flirting with the stand side touch, and it couldn't be taken by Cameron Rees. Ball knocked on, he threw his head in the air. Again, disappointed with himself. He's been superb this afternoon, but fortunately for him, the referee was playing an advantage for a high tackle. And heads across again into centre field, awards the penalty to AYR, and the ball given to Jack Anderson, who kicks that one out just about straight sideways.
Yeah, the wind is quite strong over on that far side, but I was watching him kick that and I was thinking, you know, in the context of this game, there's 6 points in it. I was like, just don't put too much in it and put it dead, because I want to see a good finish here. And he's obviously veered on the side of caution, and they've got the ball back from the line out.
Well, it makes the line out throw difficult as well. They kept it low. You're right, you can see the flag fluttering on the 22 over in that policeman's corner, but AYR have taken that from the line out, and they're going forward at a rate of knots now. And Melrose, well, I think they realised they had to kill that one there, and they came in the side, so the referee playing at advantage. So Jamie Bova once again out the back door, and AYR with free ball carry into the 22. They'll have to take it back to the right. The AYR forwards a little bit slow to reset themselves. That ball has been knocked on. Loud blast on the whistle from the referee, and it will go back to the first infringement. And again, it will be a penalty to AYR, but a chance here for them to get this one much closer to the corner.
Yeah, definitely. They've got it in a good position. They've got it from where the Maul ended up kind of capitulating slightly, so they'll be able to just stab this one into the corner. And according to my clock, we've got about 30 seconds left in this game. Ben McLean's going to come back on for Melrose. And his first task will be trying to stop the Ayr onslaught. First job, get it out into the corner. Second job, the hooker has to hit his target.
So the penalty is 15 metres in from the far touchline as we watch from the stand, and about 15 metres out from the corner. Again, don't try to be too greedy. I get that one to maybe 6 metres or so out from the Melrose try line. So the game well could be wrapped up in the final moments of this one. It's still Melrose with a 6 points advantage if they do concede. And we'll be hoping, we're trying to make sure it is right over in that corner and ensure that it's a difficult conversion, but they'll not want to concede. First thing here from an Ayr point of view is they have to win this ball from the line out. They do that, and round comes the hooker, Dave Young. The replacement hooker gets his hands on the ball, and in come the Ayr backline. John Fulton gets himself involved there, adds his well, not a huge amount of weight, but enough to get that going forward again, and Ayr just inching towards the Melrose try line. And the Melrose response is good initially, though. Stopped Ayr in the track. However, the broken away there, I don't think anybody was expecting that one. And it's Pete McCallum, the Ayr number 8, who has just come from nowhere and plunges over the Melrose try line. It's a 1 point game. Conversion still to come from Ayr, and the game could well be all wrapped up in this conversion for Jamie Bova.
Yeah, it could be snatched right at the death, and in a game where Ayr have looked pretty poor for the last 10 minutes. They've looked a better side, but sometimes you just need to get yourselves in these positions to try and snatch victory. Not, as they say, all good teams, they know how to win playing bad. But let's see if Ayr still have it in the tank and Bova can deal with the pressure here. It's a challenging kick. It's windy, it's wet, it's in between the 15 and the 5, and probably not on his favourite side either, but it's a big kick coming up for Ayr.
Melrose 39, Melrose 30, Ayr 29. Jamie Bova with the kick 12 metres or so in from the far touchline. He's having a quick word with the referee. It would be better just concentrating on the task in front of him for now. He certainly catches it cleanly, and up go the flags. The big inside centre makes absolutely no mistake, and the visitors now have a 1 point advantage. Time still left to play here, but Ayr, as things stand, they have a bonus point, certainly. Do they have the game in the bag? Melrose realise that they've got to play quickly, and from the restart the ball goes loose. The referee says knocked on by Melrose. Has another look at his watch. Loud. I'm not sure if that was the crowd sighing or you sighing there.
That was me.
Relief that there is time left to play on here, but it's Ayr to feed the scrum here, so we need an almighty effort from the Melrose 8.
Yeah, I was just watching Scott Cubitt, the referee, just with real interest to see if that was going to be the last play, because obviously Melrose came out with a lot of ambition after conceding that score to try and keep the tempo high, get the ball back on their side, but the knock-on has went the way of Ayr, and the last thing you want to do to Ayr is give the big burly pack the ball to suffocate the clock, and the pressure comes on from the scrum.
Well, Ayr do get that one out quickly. Pete McCallum, Jamie Bova, he's certainly done that job for them well this afternoon. He's not always combined well with the players outside him, but when you need a little bit to go forward, he just sticks his head down and carries hard. It's back to his feet again, and we'll do it all over again if he has to, but for now it's with the Ayr forwards. They'll be desperate not to make a mistake here, and Melrose, for their part, really have to try and turn this one over, pick their moment to get hands in there, win this ball back again. The referee telling them to get hands off, and the Ayr side will be speaking to the referee all the time, and I think he has indicated that time is up, because Ayr have kicked that one off the side. The referee does blow for full time, and an unlikely win for the visitors. Well, I had them written off 10 minutes ago when they trailed by 13 points. Dale, you rightly said, do not ever write off Ayr, and they did have 14 points in them. They have rescued this game from the death. It's Melrose 30, Ayr 31, 4 tries for Ayr, and Melrose had their opportunities but unable to add that 4th try, which would have won the game for them. And well, silence around the crowd here at the Greenyards. Can scarcely believe what they've seen there, the Melrose support, but it's the visitors who will go back to Milbray with all 5 points from this game and keep in touch with Kelso at the top of National League Division 1.
Yeah, I just said that about Ayr just to keep the balance. I don't know what I'm on about, but the difference there, I feel, I'd say at one point during commentary, it was almost as if who could make the least mistakes, and in the last 10 minutes Melrose made more mistakes than Ayr. They weren't able to capitalise when they got themselves in a good position. They gave away a penalty. They allowed Ayr to then play from their own goal area when it was tight. They allowed them downfield, and they allowed Ayr to then manage the game in the last 10 minutes. They kicked away all the ball. They didn't allow themselves the opportunity to control the game, and in the end, when they were 12 points down, 12 points down, were they not? And that's when Ayr started to come into the game. They got their tails up, they got the conversion, and he goes, hang on, we've not been playing well, we're 6 points behind, we could win this game. And hats off to Bova. I was critical of him in the first half. I think second half he was a lot better, and especially to have the determination and the focus to slot that conversion in difficult conditions. It's a big blow to Melrose, but it's certainly, it's a huge lift for Ayr.
Yeah, well, 3 tries for Melrose. The two sides traded tries all afternoon. It was James Brown who opened the scoring, then Stuart Collier with the response for Ayr, Luke Townsend for Melrose, Kieran Wood for Ayr. And the difference between the two sides at half time, that David Colvin penalty, and it was Melrose again who came out the traps more quickly in the second half. David Colvin with a penalty, then that Elliot Ruthven try, another David Colvin penalty, and at that stage Melrose led by 13 points. And I say I had written Ayr off, but you should never do that, because back they came, Robbie McLaren with their third try, and then Pete McCallum with the fourth. Huge amount of pressure on Jamie Bova, but he withstood it. He kicked the conversion. 11 points for the Ayr inside centre today, in fact, with 4 conversions and a penalty. That's Melrose 30, Ayr 31, the final score.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Hi, Nicky Walker here, Curriculum Manager for Borders College Sport. Are you passionate about sport? If so, then look out for the return of our Borders College Rugby, Football and Hockey courses in early 2023.
Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
To commemorate the 7th anniversary of the opening of the Borders Railway, an 8 DVD box set is now available, featuring the complete series Borders Railway from start to finish, plus the full hour-and-a-half documentary 5 years on, which examines the possibility of an extension to Carlisle, plus extra features, including a cab journey along the entire Borders Railway, all for the special price of just £14.99, including post and packing. You can get your copy direct from hotdisc.co.uk/shop. That's hotdisc.co.uk/shop. The 8 DVD box set, The Complete Borders Railway, is available now.
When the weather's dreich and a storm's a brewing, you need a strong, windproof, quality umbrella delivered with good old-fashioned customer service and at an affordable price. Up here in Umbrella Heaven, we say you tackle the ball, we'll tackle the weather. UmbrellaHeaven.com for when the heavens open.
Hello, this is George Ingalls here, and I'm thrilled that my songs are now available on 2 albums, Anthology and Lockdown Blues.
Late in the evening, she's wondering what clothes to wear.
Both available on iTunes to download and stream.
I am the train, been gone since 69.
George Ingalls Anthology and Lockdown Blues. Check them out now on iTunes and other digital sites.
This is Borders Rugby Special on Borders Rugby Radio.
Well, breathless end to that match, but it ended Melrose 30, Ayr 31, and the points, all 5 points, go to Ayr. And let's have a look how that affects the table in National 1, because Kelso, who we believe have won, we'll check that very, very shortly, but Kelso on 58 points, Ayr also have 58 points. Kelso have that game in hand, though, of course, don't forget that. They've played 14 now to Kelso's 13. Melrose remain in third place, but now on 49 points. In fourth place, Gala, 41. Highland had a big win today as well. They're in fifth on 40. Then it's Biggar 32, it's Stirling County 27, Watsonians 26, Dundee have 25, GHK 22, Aberdeen Grammar 10, and Stewmel on 9. So the final results that we have for you: Curry 34, Glasgow Hawks 17 in the Premiership, Edinburgh Accies 28, Musselburgh 5, GHA 17, Selkirk 21, Heriots Blues 24, JEDFOREST 30, and Mar 10, Hawick 29. In National 1, we're still waiting on the Kelso Biggar result, but I can tell you that it's Gala 40, Dundee 15. We'll join Alan Lorimer there shortly. Highland 52, GHK 5 is a result. Stuart's Melville 24, Watsonians 33, both getting their try bonuses today, and Stirling County 23, Aberdeen Grammar 12. In National 2 it was Berwick 31, Boroughmuir 5, Dumfries 17, Peebles 3, Glasgow Accies 34, Hamilton 8, Kirkcaldy 40, Cartha Queen's Park 20 is a latest score, Newton Stewart 13, Falkirk 5, and Preston Lodge 6, Lasswade 14. In the East 2, it's ended Hoyt-Lindeen 28, Dunbar 34, Pennycook 0, Langham 31, or 33 that is. In fact, that's changed when I last saw it, so it's 31 or 33, but Langham again remaining unbeaten in East League 2. And Inverleith 12, Hoyk Harlequins 52. We'll get a report from Hugh Brown very, very shortly. But Dale's now been joined at the back of the stand by one of the very happy Ayr players.
Yeah, the captain, Cameron Rees, second row for Ayr. And in terms of, this is a big fixture in Scottish rugby, we talk about it over and over again, but a great win at the death. How does that rank for you in terms of victories?
It's huge for the season, so it's always an absolute war down here. So I'm still a bit out of breath trying to get up the stairs. No, it was a great fight out there, two evenly matched teams. We said all week, just got to go out there and show our heart and play our rugby, don't go into our shells, and I think that's what we did. Got a bit scrappy, they got a bit of momentum, we pulled it back, and then going 13 points down, we spoke under the sticks, just saying we've got to go to a dark place, but it's whoever comes out there fighting that wins, and managed to steal it at the death. So
yeah, and in terms of the performance, it's a great win, especially the way that you won it. In terms of the performance as a captain, how do you feel about the overall performance from Ayr? From where I was standing, you didn't play particularly well, but the last 10 minutes you sprung into life.
Yeah, it's just, I think that's been how we felt all season. We've sort of been sticky getting into 4th and 5th gear. So, look, we see what we can do out there, and to be fair, I think we didn't play our best rugby out there, and Melrose probably say that they didn't either, but stuck at it. Some of the heart the boys showed out there was outstanding, so really happy to come away with a win, and it's a building block for the next bit of the season, because this win doesn't mean nothing to us if we don't go and back it up in the next games. And
I'm sure as the captain you'll probably highlight the impact that the bench made, but obviously when they came on they just gave you a little bit, helped you get into that 4th and 5th gear.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant having a bench like that. I think that's the strongest bench we've had all year, so when you see boys coming on adding a huge amount of energy, like Morgan Leatherbarrow in the first half, Bull, who's one of our defensive leaders, goes off, don't know if a head knock or whatnot, and Morgan comes in and sticks 2 boys on their backside. So pretty good feeling having the boys coming in and backing up everyone else's performances.
Now, the obvious question, how big is this win in terms of the promotion aspirations? There's 3 years before this game, yourselves, Melrose and Kelso. How big a win is this?
No, it's huge. We're but as I said earlier, it doesn't mean anything if we don't go and back it up next week. So I think our last 2 games of the season are Kelso away and Gala away, so want to go in there with a fighting chance of getting put up, because that was what we sat down at the start of the season, said we want to be in the Prem next year, so that's what all the boys are building towards.
Well done on an impressive victory right at the death, and good luck for the rest of the season as well.
We're going to be joined, I think, by Bruce Colvin at the back of the stand now, who was out there making his presence felt as usual. The losing captain, I'm afraid, on this occasion, 31-30 it ended, and he's now with Dale.
Yes, hi Bruce. First of all, Happy New Year. It's not a great way to start it, and obviously it was a difficult game. We've said it time and time again, it's a historical game between the both of you, but that perhaps on the balance of play is an unlikely loss.
I look at it this quickly after it, it's kind of hard to dissect it so quickly, but probably a bit naive from us, second half getting away into a bit of a lead, and then kind of probably going into our shell a little bit. Started the second half really well, kind of expressed ourselves, got that lead, and then we've kind of probably went back the way a little bit, gotten a little bit kind of clammy with it, and obviously the conditions didn't help that, like you try to kind of probably kick inaccurately and not pick things up in a kick chase. But look, we'll have to fight another day. It's a sickener to take that the way it is. There's only a minute left to play in that, but look, sometimes I think momentum's a massive thing. We maybe read our luck a little bit pre-Christmas with that, coming out the right side of certain results, getting the right bounce of the ball, getting the right decision our way, and today it's probably caught up with us a little bit. But look, the beauty of this game is that we've got 7 days to go back and rectify some wrongs next week. So no, looking forward to get back to it. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but we get round about one another whether we win or lose. So.
And like the game itself, you were in control for, I would say, about 70 minutes, and then Ayr, got their tails up, got the rub of the green in some bits as well. So in the last 10 minutes, obviously you say it's a bit early to dissect and try and analyse it, but where do you feel it went wrong for the last 10 minutes of that game?
It's probably that period that we were camping there 22 and we come away with nothing. That, in essence, again, going back to that kind of word of momentum, that really turns the momentum to Ayr, and then they go the kind of length, they get back to within a score, and then and then it's that kind of panic stations. And look, everybody's human, everybody kind of goes into themselves a little bit when it gets a little bit kind of close like that, and unfortunately the way to probably handle it is to step forward into that challenge and not kind of step backwards, and today we probably took just maybe it's too small a step backwards.
Yeah, I was going to maybe speak about the things that you can easily identify in terms of the changes of experience, and maybe losing a couple of players, obviously the two Canadians that have left, but Luke Townsend, for example, he showed up really well in that game, so you can't really put it down to the fact that there's not enough experience out in the park, because the young players coming through are certainly holding their own at this level.
Not at all. I mean, the young guys in that add loads to the group. Age is but a number in there. I'm a massive advocate for that. So
you'll have to be.
Having kind of 10 years on these boys, but no, look, they come in and we encourage them at training to speak and to add stuff, and then it's no different on there. You've got young Robin Sharp, you've got young Xander Ramage on the bench today, unfortunately not used, but spoke in the huddle there at the end that they are just as much a part of this kind of drive to get ourselves out of National 1 as everyone else that's involved with the club.
Well, unlucky today, Bruce. Obviously it's a dent to your promotion aspirations, but I'm sure you'll galvanise yourselves and get back to it next weekend.
Go again. Good man, thanks very much.
Right, let's go to Pointer Park. It's all over there. Kelso against Biggar. Andrew Fleming.
Full time at Pointer Park, and Kelso have started 2023 with another bonus point victory, but they were really made to work for it by a stubborn Biggar side. Kelso led 19-0 at the break following tries from Bruce McNeil, Nick Stengel and Andy Tate, plus 2 conversions by Dwayne Patterson. The visitors got the first score of the second period after a lovely flowing move was finished off by Rowan Stewart, and despite Cammy Thompson securing Kelso's bonus point try to make it 26-7, Biggar rallied with a second score from Stewart and a David Reeve try. A late Dwayne Patterson penalty put Kelso beyond reach as they saw out another crucial victory which maintains their top spot in National 1. Full time at Pointer Park, Kelso 29, Biggar 19.
And finally to Netherdale, Gala against Dundee, Alan Lorimer.
Gala got their National 1 campaign back on track today at Netherdale with a 40 points to 15 win over a stuffy Dundee side whose big forwards made life difficult for the Maroons. In all, Gala had a 6-2 try advantage. 2 of the tries scored by winger Ben Gill. The others coming from Liam Scott and Harris Rutherford in the first half, Scott Peffers in the second half, and a fine close-range try from hard-working second-row forward Glenn McCrum. Craig Dodds had 5 conversions in a wonderful display of goal kicking. So final score from Netherdale, Gala 40, Dundee 15.
That was Alan Lorimer at Netherdale. Well, it's been a bit of a packed programme today. Here are the final closing headlines for you. In the Premiership there were wins for Curry, Edinburgh Accies, Selkirk, JEDFOREST and Hawick. In National 1, victories for Gala, Highland, Kelso, Ayr, Watsonians and Stirling County. In National 2, a win for Berwick against Boroughmuir, a loss for Peebles at Dumfries. Hawick Lindeen didn't win for the first time this season. They lost 34-28 at home to Dunbar. Millar. A big win for Langham at Pennycook, 33-0, and Hawick Harlequins retain their unbeaten league record, 52-12 winners at Inverleith. Well, next week we'll be coming to you from Mansfield Park for the game between Hawick and Curry. The Bill McLaren Shield will be up for grabs again. Full commentary on that one, and also second half commentary of Selkirk against Mars. We concentrate on the Premiership. Two mouth-watering games there.